And we're back. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good to see you. I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime. Come on in. Hit that like button if you're new here. Get us subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit all notifications. If you're not new here and you want to get a membership, I suggest you get a membership. It's so worth it, guys. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We made it through half the week already. 2 days I was sick, but now I'm feeling much better. I hope all of you are doing good. Lady for Justice, I see ya in chat. Tanya, how you doing? Kathy, True Crime Files. Oh, there's Lady for Justice. How you guys doing today? Now, I've got a show for you today. All right. Now, there's so many different angles that you can take with the Nancy Guthrie case, all right? Lots and lots of angles. And I'm going to play devil's advocate with myself and with you guys. And when you see what I mean, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to go over Nancy Guthrie inside Family Dynamics / Siblings. And is Annie Guthrie good or evil? We're going to talk about her dark poem and her dark readings, and the things that you guys all are thinking are going to be said. First of all, I promise you, everything that you've thought of bad to say, we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to go on a totally separate spectrum, which I believe, and we're going to go there. So we're going to weigh the good and the evil, guys, and then profile of a kidnapper emerges even further, and missed DNA. Not only that, guys, but if you want to really, really, really be caught up on day number 74, today's April 15th, y'all. It marks 74 days in the search for Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old mother of the Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie. She was last seen at her Tucson area home on the night of January 31st and reported missing on February 1st. Now, recent updates confirm that investigators still believe Nancy was abducted from her home, and FBI continues to work behind the scenes and analyze footage as well as DNA, etc. Right now, Savannah's back at work, and it's still $1.2 million plus for a reward. So I don't know what's going on with that. But if you want to know about day 74 and where we are and what's going on, then you're in the right place. All right. And I just love having conversations with you. And I love the duality of a conversation. I can sit there all day and we can go round and round with agreeing to not disagree. And I love it. I'm here for it. All right. Good to see you, Flojo, my guy. This guy, go sub up to this guy. This guy, I just like his voice, but then when I watch his content, it's also very good. Initially, though, Flojo, I got to tell you, I just liked your voice. Then I started listening to him like, I can get down with this. This is good. All right, guys. Hello, everybody. You guys do me a favor. We've got the goal up. We'll get into it in a bit. I know. Deborah, Ferris, how you doing? Lady for Justice, Sanders in the house. Prayers to you, Raging. And I'd love to give prayers if I know what for. Sadie's mama, we can all state opinion and be fine. Well, I can, and most of you can, but other people, I don't know. Felicia says, Mama Pearl. Guys, I'm so excited to meet you guys in Vegas. It's coming up so soon. Mo Franjo, how you doing? Proud mom of 2 girls. Hi, thank you. I appreciate you. Come on in. Oh, stop it. No, seriously, your voice is dope, man. I definitely want to collab with you sometime because I feel like it would be a good collab. And the way you think and the way I think are kind of similar, but we'd also have a good conversation. So anyway, Flojo TV, go sub up to that dude. He's a cool guy. I like his content. All right, Kim Wells, Clementine's out of the bushes for a moment. Oh, please come out to Vegas, buddy. Please, please, please. We're going to have a fat ass party at the Bellagio. Why wouldn't you come? And all you have to do is be part of Guilty of Crime. And you go, it's for free. There's alcohol, open bar, there's food, and a bunch of us cool folks that will be there. So, hey, you're more than welcome to come to Vegas, all right? I'm going to buy my tickets for the 30th and the 31st. And the other days, I'll kind of meander around a bit with the crime crew and Mama Guilty, Mrs. Guilty, all that. All right? Baby Guilty. So we're going to have big fun in Vegas. And everybody is invited, man. Definitely come on out. We have a link. If you go to our Ghost account and sign up, you could RSVP to that link. Thank you to Patricia and Y. All right. Cool. And Chris, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Colleen. All right, guys, we're just going to get into it. Let me just tell you the bottom line of this case today. Obviously, as you know, not much new information is coming. First of all, not from Sheriff Nanos. Barney Fife's not telling us anything. He's still in trouble and trying to respond to his own mess. FBI is currently working behind the scenes to get DNA unmixed and put into the genetic genealogy system. But I'm going to go a little bit further and tell you about why law enforcement didn't let the forensic DNA lab that could have got the DNA back really quickly, didn't let that go, and why. So just quickly, Nancy Guthrie case, why isn't law enforcement letting Othram, a leading forensic DNA lab, help with the DNA they're having trouble with? Why would that happen, guys? They've helped solve hundreds to thousands of cases, including identifying Jane Doe and John Doe victims, solving murders that were cold, guys, for 30 to 50 years. All right. The founder is David Middleman. And if you look below, then you'll see here that people are asking him, why aren't you helping? What's up? And they're saying clearly they're not asking us. They're not letting us help. Can someone help me? I'm in a discussion group. These are the questions. DNA testing. If not, many are saying Florida lab will be first to have it. But I mean, the conversations are, hey, of course we can, but we can't get involved unless law enforcement comes in. All right. So there's that. And then there's YouTubers. And when I say YouTubers, I take that lightly because word around town is JLR has really been upsetting some of those local people. Let me put this up for a second and pause it so I can talk to Baby Guilty. 1 second.
Well, today marks day 73 in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Now we have new information surrounding the case. The Pima County Sheriff's Department reporting this week that it's increasing patrols in 2 neighborhoods connected to the Guthrie investigation after new complaints of harassment. PCSD says this is the result of deputies recently attending a homeowners association meeting in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood, where residents reported a YouTuber harassing people in the area. The Sheriff's Department says they all have also received similar complaints from Nancy Guthrie's daughter Annie's neighborhood and have responded by increasing patrols in both locations.
And go ahead. Day 73. All right, Baby Guilty. We all love you too. Mwah. And we're going to see you in Vegas as well, right? With your bodyguard. Love you. Mwah. Go play. Don't make messes.
Where is it?
It's in the electronic box in my room. All right, guys. Welcome. Cool and Chris always coming through with a Guilty of Crime membership. If you receive the membership, please thank Cool and Chris. All right. What's up? I'm Felicia. I'm okay, Felicia. Don't worry. That's just stress. Yeah, the stress kind of does that to you, doesn't it? Love true crime. Good evening to you. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm feeling really good today. I'm feeling really positive about things today. And yeah, Foxy's giving out her 420 membership. So do me a favor and make sure your membership gifting is on so that you can receive that. All right, Cheeto, how you doing? Why doesn't the family provide their own security at both homes? Or do they already? And is this about the neighbors? It is about the neighbors partially, but we're going to get into all of the logistics and where law enforcement is, which house, this house. I mean, you see that. And people have said JLR's name several times that they're he's borderline stalking and bugging them. Now, that's not coming from me. I'm not trying to bash him, but the neighbors aren't happy about this. And especially when, and I'm not going to say a bunch of bad things about this guy, but he is a felon. And those people do not want a felon in their neighborhood at night watching them, because who knows, right? They really don't want that. They just don't. I'm sorry. And I don't blame them. Kim Wells, thank you so much. Jen's a Gypsy, how you doing? Moonlight Flare, good to see you. Kathy, always a pleasure. All right, so listen, we're at day 73. They don't want us in there. Law enforcement doesn't want us in there, but law enforcement also is saying that they would love for somebody to reach out to law enforcement if you know somebody that can help, and offer this David Middleman, okay? He's the founder of the Othram company, and he's happy to help them do testing or separate it, whatever they've got. So, I mean, there's a little bit of hope on that as far as that goes, I guess. But right now it's very stagnant, right? It's stagnant. And then we've got this guy that we got to talk about. So we've got a duality today. We're talking about the family dynamics, and specifically, is Annie the good or the evil witch, right? Because we're going to hear a combination. You're going to hear one breath, somebody saying that she's, an angel and she's singing her praises. And in the next, she sounds demonic. And I'll play her stuff as well. We haven't seen her talk at all, except for one time when she was smiling and then she said, "Mommy," something or other. As you can tell, I'm not fans of Tommaso and Annie, right? I mean, the fact that this guy is covering his freaking face up. Okay, now he covered his face up. He was the last person to be seen alive, or Nancy was the last person to be with him, allegedly. Why is he doing that? Why is he covering his face? Guys, did he shave his beard in the very beginning to shave it down so you couldn't recognize him, and then reappears 6-7 weeks later with a grown beard? And I mean, I can't comprehend what's happening with that. So that's why I say, we're going to get into that, Kim Wells. You have no idea. We're about to get into that. So, I mean, there's a lot of strange things and there's a lot of coincidences. And I'm going to tell you right now, coincidences don't go with true crime. He was on about no money being paid on the Nancy house, so gave rude replies saying he didn't need to say he's scraping the bottom of the barrel, but don't want to bring his name here. Yeah, I mean, there's just no reason for that. None whatsoever. Hey, Cindy, please, how you doing? I love the name. The whole case makes no sense. It's sad. Well, it makes plenty of sense to me, and I just want them to hopefully find Nancy and bring her home. Now, I'm not delusional. I'm going to tell you right now, finding Nancy, maybe finding her body and bringing her home, but then we'll be able to really get down to the dirty work and, test DNA, see how she died, etc., etc. Annie, not sure why, I just felt, and everybody has, but there's people that are singing her praises because they are friends with Savannah, and Savannah won't dare say anything bad. The whole case is questionable. Tell me what is going on. They need to explain. So what's happening right now, straight up, is what I just told you. We're at day 74. The only thing we've seen is a few masked men that were released, or one masked man, a couple of footages, different nights. We saw a car that we assumed to be a Kia, right? We have some DNA that's being tested, and we have different suspects that us YouTubing sleuths are looking at because law enforcement is giving us nothing. All right? Nothing, nada, zip, zero, zilch. All right, so I ask you now, I'm going to ask you now to thank you so much, Rose, for the $5 super sticker. Thank you towards our goal. All right. So that's always odd. And it always comes back to, this is part of the family dynamics in this case. Why is he doing this? Why is he covering his face like that? Why isn't he not saying, hey, we need help? All right. So Nancy Guthrie, new danger in Annie Guthrie's neighborhood. That Wednesday, April 15th, today, Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood saw increased police presence after she was kidnapped. But now reports have emerged of more cops in Annie's neighborhood too. And you might ask yourself, why so many cops and why do they keep revisiting? Are they watching them? Is the house wired? Do they have cameras? Are they bugging both places? Because you certainly have to. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much, Rose. You have to look at this situation from all angles, right? And the angles that I keep looking at come back to one particular angle. So you guys want to know what's happening on day 74, and here we go. This is what's happening. No, well, here's the thing: is FBI is working behind the scenes, allegedly, in my opinion, and allegedly they're working hard behind the scenes to get that DNA, separate it, and get it into the genetic genealogy. Now, I'll tell you right now, the missed DNA was missed from that bite light and those shrubberies. But what if it wasn't missed? How do we know that law enforcement didn't collect that in the house and we just don't know yet? No, they're both places. So SoCal. Let me finish this and then we'll continue. So we're going in the duality today of the siblings relationship and family dynamics. Okay, we're gonna have two scenarios. Now, those are the Guthrie sisters on the Today Show, daughters to Nancy. Now we know Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood saw increased police presence after the 84-year-old was kidnapped. We all know that. Now, a new report has emerged of the heightened law enforcement presence in daughter Annie's neighborhood as well. Remember, we're on day 74, and I'm giving you this straight out of the press. Today is what they're talking about, all right? Now, you could go on X and you could find stuff if you look hard enough, but I'll do that for you. Now, notably, Annie and Nancy live closer to each other, with the latter's house being in Catalina Foothills near Tucson, Arizona. Nancy, who's also the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie, had dinner with Annie the night authorities believe she was taken from her home. Now, her son-in-law, Tommaso, that likes to cover his face, reportedly dropped her off after that, making him and Annie among the last people to see Nancy before she was taken. Now, initially, Ashley Banfield, a former News Nation journalist, claimed that Tomacioni was a suspect. However, this turned out to be wrong, as Pima County Chris Nanos, who's in charge of this shitty investigation, stated that none of the Guthrie family members were suspects. Do I believe that? Hell no. Now, while clearing the family members, local authorities have aided the FBI, have not turned up any suspects, not even any people of interest anymore, guys, with over 2 months having elapsed since Guthrie was reported missing. Now, the new report has outlined some troubles with Annie Guthrie that she's facing in her neighborhood, prompting the sheriff to deploy more people. Now, what troubles are Annie Guthrie facing? What? Why? With Guthrie's disappearance, it's drawing so much attention. There are plenty of online outlets and individual content creators in that area. And some of them have headed to Annie's neighborhood as well. And I assume that they're out there waiting for her to come out, get a picture, get a response, watch her take the trash out. As per the report, YouTubers have been parading around in Tucson area and what they call harassing people, guys. Now, News 4 Tucson picked that up, that Guthrie's neighbors complained about a particular YouTuber harassing residents in the area. Now, according to the police sheriff's office, confirmed that they have also received similar complaints from Guthrie's daughter, Annie, in relation to her neighborhood. Thus, there are now more officers patrolling the area. Recently, a YouTuber had posted a video from outside Annie and Tommaso's home where the latter allegedly said something along the lines of asking to be left alone. Now, this streamer could be heard in the video saying that they were moving out of the area, which is wild. That I wonder who this is, right? So, case update today. This is where we stand right now. The search for Nancy Guthrie continues. Her family has urged neighbors and other Tucson community members to think back to January 11th and January 31st, as well as February 1st. Recall if they've seen any witnesses, anything out of the ordinary, etc. If there's any new information, you guys know what to do. Call 1-800, call FBI. I think that's what it is. We'll get to that if it's not. But I'm sure you'll find it. Now, the public has also been asked to stay vigilant and avoid sending money to anyone who claims to be raising funds linked to this kidnapping case. Guys, there's a bunch of scammers out there now trying to profit off of this faster than you can imagine. All right. Velvet Unicorn, good to see you. All right, listen, astrology, I got an episode for you today. You're in the perfect place, my friend, because we are going to look at the duality of why Savannah is viewed as an angel and Annie as a demon. Was exploiting Nancy during the NBC specials and was not anything for her mother. Let me give you a big hug, first of all, and tell you, if you don't know me, now you know me. I love discussions. And I love discussions with people that don't think the same way as me, because we can agree to disagree. But that's all going to be answered for you in just a few minutes. All right. So let's continue. That was a great question, though. Why is Savannah looked at as an angel, and why is Annie not? So let's take a look at Annie. I think that's a perfect segue to get into the family dynamics. And let's just look at Annie and see. Let's quickly look at her book, right? She's got several books that she's published, but this book is called The Good Dark, all right? The Good Dark. If anyone knows what that means, then you know, all right? Good to see you, Michelle. How you doing, MM Clark? Big hug. And astrology, perfect point, well taken, all right? Annie was covering up her face too. Both of them were. I know. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. We're getting into the family dynamics, and particularly the siblings of Savannah and Annie, and the jealousy that allegedly is there. We hear from people in the neighborhood and people in the family that say there was contention with Savannah and Annie was jealous. But that's not confirmed by Savannah at all. All right, Rocco says, I think Savannah is questioning her mind if they're involved. I agree, but not publicly. Okay, so this is her book. It's called The Good Dark. I'm like, I mean, I know what the good dark means, but what does she mean by this? All right, so it's poems, a sequence of poems comprising Annie Guthrie's first book. Now, the quest for the meaning of human consciousness and its tangled subjectivity is as drawn as a slow building narrative of mystic experience. The journey enacted is that of Selfa's character who encounters insurmountable mysteries in a breaking selfhood, a dozier of contemplative exploration. The Good Dark chronicles an immersive search in 3 acts: unwitting, chorus, and body, stations through which the character must pass and where she is accumulatively confessed, compounded, and erased. Dear Lord, what the hell does that mean? And I don't really mean I don't know what it means, but I want you to take a look at Annie. As a matter of fact, I found her reading a chilling reading from Annie Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie's eldest sister. Let's listen together, and then we're gonna get into the fact that one side is saying these people are close, they love each other, there's no way they did this. Annie is just as much of an angel, don't let it fool you, she's not jealous. And on the opposite side, okay, we're gonna do both.
From the final section, body.
This is Annie, guys. It's one of her
Behind
books.
the pupil, a floret of lines. burst toward release. A question is raised. The body gives its cross-hatched replies.
Ooh, I don't know what that sound is, but sorry.
Whatever in the bloom, what never, on what dream's shelf is ever wilting. On top the night's helm, my howling, starless, stark ahems. The tyrant ahas. Unmoored from port of stem, fingers
What
keep
is
their words.
that? Okay. That should be good.
Put too many coins in GD.
And maybe this is why she doesn't speak. Maybe she is shy. Maybe, and I'm right there with you, astrology. I appreciate your duality in this. You're the perfect person to be in this chat so other people can feel comfortable with, hey, that I agree with that, Jay, but I don't agree with what you said on that one. Right? She's a wackadoodle. It looks like it. And Rising Sun, it's really strange because people are speculating, and it's a lot of people. Everyone's covering this case, right? We've got a bunch of people that are astrologers, and we have people that are that do readings, tarot readings, that are saying that Annie or Nancy Guthrie was incinerated, or they tried to burn her body. So when I see embers of hope and I hear about embers of hope in the dark, I feel like the embers are like the ashes where she was burnt. I just don't know. But let's keep looking at her. We haven't seen her talk much at all. And this is her. And these are her, you'll hear, fantastic angelic poems.
It doesn't play. And then, if still or even unplucked from the hook and hung by, get me down, I'm upside down, trying the will, riding it.
Like what?
Bones tell too much of life to skin.
Say what?
Behind all faces, all bone. I saw in one moment an eye open enough to soften the gaze. In there should dare weigh nothing. Walking days under ribcage of oaks by the river. Sometimes it opens. You are in the body of oak bones. Other times whitens in grimace, retrieves a perceiving. Or it could be a body. It might be your body. In that case, how silly all this time. Belief in nothing, collecting. The lateness of hours.
That's one
Sun
side.
and sea setting, light as face. Reflecting, finding a sameness in things. The body took the blame for the deeds of the.
You know what song I have in my head right now? Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Annie, are you okay? I should play the Michael Jackson song, but it will take it down. That's what all I can hear in my head. I don't even understand what she's saying, and I have to agree on the creepy part and the dark part. But right when I get to the next segment, you're going to hear someone singing her praises, and that's why I wanted to show you this before we got into that, right? Are you okay, Annie? You've been hit by a smooth criminal. Da-da-da, da-da-da. She's a smooth criminal. Right. Annie, are you okay? You got it. You guys got it. She's a smooth criminal. That's it. Hey, this is just my opinion. All right, let's continue. You've been hit by, all right, a smooth criminal.
Mind. It was this kind of human.
Not that I know of, my friends. All right, we don't want to ever watch that again.
From the
It's
final
called-
section, body.
I'm gonna say no. Do not watch that ever again, please. I never, ever, ever want to watch it again. We need to bring Nancy home. You guys do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. I am going to gift some memberships throughout the day. I want to say thank you to Foxy for the 420 membership if I didn't say that, and Joy Perry 753. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you helping me get to the goal daily. I mean, that's how we're going. That's how I'm going to Crime Con. So as long as I have gas, I'm ready to go. All right, we're gonna drive our asses off. And he's a poet, and Tommaso's a black metalhead. His music is just like this shit. All right, now I can. This is the perfect segue into this. Now, again, don't get mad at me about anything because we're playing devil's advocate with ourselves today, and it doesn't matter what side you're on. It doesn't matter what side you're on because we're just having a discussion. Now, this just came out, and I have mad respect for Jennifer Coffendoffer, mad respect, right? Let's listen. She says it's time to talk about Annie. And I say, hell yeah, it's time to talk about Annie. What are we talking about with Annie? Let's get to it. And this is what I got. All right. We're not playing the whole thing. I've only got about maybe 16 minutes, maybe 10, maybe not, but just bear with me because some people will be on one side and some people will be on the other, good or evil. All right. And you guys have to tell me what you think as we go. So we're talking about Annie and the family dynamic, and then we're going to switch it up.
In the first couple of weeks, well before anybody knew about Brian Koberger,
genetic genealogy,
about how they weren't involved. There was no way, based on all the research that I had done, there was no chance. They were later cleared, and still people kept after them. Listen, people are still.
What she's talking about is Annie and Tommaso and how they're being harassed and how they're offering, they're doing certain things. Jay, research pagans. They have rituals and reasons for backdoor. I will, my friend. I will. Coffendoffer also said Albert and Jennifer Macabre were innocent and Karen Reed. There you go. So I've had Coffendoffer on my show and I have respect for her. And, I respect you not liking her, but I'm like this. I'm cool with her. She did me a solid when we were doing the Madeline Soto case. She came on my show and it helped me to get these 30, almost 4,000 subscribers that I have to get out to you. So just, hey, I do not agree with her though right now. I'm going to tell you that. Running this time machine. I'm lurking in the background, baby. Thank you for the $2 super chat to get towards our goal. All right, so here we go. Family dynamics, siblings, and the relations between them. Number one scenario, what do we have to talk about with Annie? What does Koff have to say? And what are people thinking that are backing Annie?
After them, just so you know. They're still not in the clear. People still blame Dylan. People still blame the Showalters
And now she's comparing that to, Brian Koberger case where people are still accusing other people, etc. Now we're going to get into these two sisters and what she thinks. Again, I don't agree with this.
People are calling her a witch. She actually looks just like Savannah on the side view. That's why I pulled this one. I love this picture. It shows them both, their profiles. They look so much alike. I want to pull this picture back up of oops.
They actually do kind of look alike, but she looks like a man version of Savannah. She has really strong like male features. I mean, even if you were to cover her face from the bottom down, the bottom looks like a man face. Just saying. All right.
Sorry. Let me see if I can get this one on the stage. People are saying she's a demon. Some are calling her not only a demon, but a demon witch. They say that every time they see Annie, she looks like she's on drugs.
Again, you guys can rightfully comment on this. If you believe that, then you should absolutely be saying, yeah, I agree. She's a demon. tell us in chat what you think, because this is why we're going over this today. This is what we're talking about. It are the family dynamics, in particular, Annie and Savannah. All right.
She doesn't look like she's on drugs to me. She looks almost exactly like Savannah, with dark hair and a slightly narrower jaw.
They do.
So much like Savannah, actually. Again, killed her mom, abducted her mom. Ass looks as guilty as hell. She's a witch. She's a demon witch. She looks drugged. That's what people have to say about Annie Guthrie if you go on right now, if you go on social media. That's what they have to say. I want to talk about what Annie Guthrie really is.
No, Coffin Duffer is just ex-FBI, and she's making a name for herself by going on many channels, in my opinion. Coffin Duffer is everywhere, and Rocco, YouTube pays. I had no idea that YouTube actually paid real money until I started working on the Madeline Soto case. I had no idea. I just did it because I wanted to talk about serial killers. And then somebody messaged me and said, hey, can you cover the Madeline Soto case? And I did. And so very quickly, my channel got monetized. And so, no, I believe she's just making a name for herself. And she's getting paid on YouTube because she's everywhere right now. All right. And that's fine. If you don't like her, that's okay. It's all good. Like I said, if I'm ever stuck on the side of the road and one of y'all pulls over and helps me change my tire, I'm always going to remember you for helping change my tire and respect you. If I don't have to disagree with you or agree to respect you. And I respect her. All right. But you guys, you don't have to.
First of all, I want to show this. Take a look at this if you didn't see this. I posted this long ago. Take a look. That was Annie and Savannah and her mom, Nancy, right there in that house, right outside the house where she was taken. Again, that house was bought in 1975 for $85,000.
Sure.
I want to show this video again because I want you to look. What caught my eye, look at the vines. This is the vines that was used, I think, to grab on and hold that ring camera. I think,
again, we see these old pictures where they're all chummy, but we believe otherwise. And I do believe that Savannah just isn't ready to accept that. The last two people that were seen with Nancy Guthrie alive, because we don't even know if she's alive, would be Annie and Tommaso, which would be FBI's #1 suspects. All right. And again, follow the money. Let's continue.
That's what he was doing. I think his gloves were slipping, even though they're tacky. They were way too big for his hands. He couldn't get a hold. And so he used the vines. Look, watch one more time closely. You know, everyone wants to know what those vines are. I wanted to show them there. That's the vine. I'm not sure exactly what that flower is. It's not lantana. It's the wrong color, but that's even the same color. And those vines were right there that he reached around and pulled. So I just thought that was so.
I mean, absolutely. You got to remember, guys, I don't even know if you realize that Savannah Guthrie used to be a lawyer, or she has her law degree. She practiced law. I don't even think that, I mean, I'm learning this as I go. Absolutely, Nancy's family could absolutely influence the influencers, right? Maybe money, maybe just a phone call to say, hey, I'm trying to help you control this narrative. What do you got? You tell me and I'll come on, all right? It happens, absolutely. We are swayed the way that we're swayed by many things. Money's not everything, though.
Interesting because of that. That video, I posted it, just probably 6 weeks ago now, 5-6 weeks ago. It really touched my heart sort of to see the interplay between Nancy and her two little girls. Obviously, they also have a brother, Cameron, named after the dad. But yeah, I mean, Cameron's what they call him, but he was named after the dad. He's an Air Force pilot. We'll talk about him later. I want to stick with Annie.
Thank you. Savannah is
I want to talk about who she is. First of all, she's a poet. And she's a creative writer. She actually works for the University of Arizona and has been employed there since 2009. In 2016, she got a coveted Artist Research and Development grant.
Now, we're only going to listen a little bit more to hear the dynamics. And yeah, interesting. We know Savannah was a lawyer. We know that she has money. We know that she makes a lot at the Today Show. And everybody seems to love her from the outside. All right. Yvette says, my sister has special powers. Tea into the devil worship venues. They perform a ritual or at ritual festivals. Jennifer C is ridiculous. No one takes her seriously. She's been paid by SG and PI. And thank you guys for I want you guys to be commenting on all of this. All right. I want to know what you all think. All right. She does suck at poetry. I'll give you that. I don't mind dark. I'm a huge horror fan. I would say a fanatic. All right. But here's the thing, guys. We're going to see the duality to this in a moment. All right. If we didn't hear this from one side, yeah, we got to play devil's advocate here.
Everyone, grants are hard to get. You don't just get them. You have to put in for them, and you have to show that you have something to work for and to do and to prove. A research and development grant. I think the year I saw, I think there were only 30 or 34 that have been approved, and she got one of them. I'm talking about basically a success of hers. I want to read. No, I'm going to go into this first. I want to talk to you about oracular writing. Oracular writing. For some reason, some people have chosen to take the word oracular and change it into witch. Somehow.
This, and we're just going to listen to this part of it because they're trying to explain away her dark poems, the weird, creepy things that she says, how they're just kind of hiding. You know, they're not out there. They're not being the face of any of this. And why? Also, guys, 430 people in chat. Would you hit the like button? It's definitely free to do so. I'm going to give some memberships when we get to the next segment. So make sure that you dropped a comment and hit the like button. Guys, CrimeCon Las Vegas is coming. Yes, we're about 5 weeks away. 5-6 weeks away. I cannot wait. Come on, guys, hit that like button for me. Let's get this in the algorithm and let's play devil's advocate together. All right, check this out. Listen to this. And that's why I read the Amazon Good Dark for you, read what it was, and I gave you a preview of how she reads and thinks. All right, here we go.
Oracular writing equals witchcraft to some people. It doesn't. It's not witchcraft, everyone. Oracular writing is, I'm going to say my terminology, what it is. It's sort of mystical writing. It's the type of writing you do where it's ambiguous. But instead of me just talking about it, I want to give you the formal definition. And then I also want to give you examples of oracular writing to show you they are nothing to do with witchcraft.
No, I could agree to say she probably is not into witchcraft. And if she is, who knows if it's the good or the bad. We're going to sort that all out. But what I do want to tell you, I see comments in chat, and I love that you guys are talking and thinking. Now, I seen somebody earlier talk about Web Sleuth's channel and some other ones. And I got to tell you guys, I'm a little bit disappointed at some of the channels and what they're putting out. That's absolutely implausible. Now, if you sent me that email, to whoever sent me that email, I don't know who you are at all. So I'm not criticizing you, but somebody sent me an email of a guy that they believe is a suspect in this case. And they're all in. This video convinced this person. Now, I took about 10 minutes to do some research because I was going to show you on this episode. I was going to say, hey, guys, check this out. Somebody sent me this and they really think they got the perpetrator. But to my dismay, to my not really surprise, it comes back to a guy in a freaking wheelchair that has nothing to absolutely do with any of this. So, if a guy in a wheelchair committed this crime, I'll hand over my keys to the next person that needs a car. All right. So, yeah, you guys, that being said, be careful who you're listening to and what information they show you. There's suppositions, and then there's like, I know this is it. It took me 10 minutes, not even, to say debunk the junk. All right. None of that was good.
Here we go. Irregular writing refers to a style of prose or poetry that mimics the ambiguous, authoritative, and prophetic tone of an oracle. It often relies on cryptic symbolism and brief, enigmatic statements that require deep interpretation. I'm convinced, and please, I hope I say this right and don't insult. I think for some people, when they don't understand something, they say it has to do with witchcraft, or it has to do with something negative. It has to do with evil. It has to do with darkness. It has to do with doing something, evil and Satan.
And it's interesting hearing her defend her because it hasn't been so outright. I've heard it here and there, but just not so outright. All right, another minute and a half or so, and we're going to jump into the other side because I really need you to see all sides.
Satanic, because they don't understand it. That's why I wanted you to read what oracle writing is. It's poetry that mimics the ambiguous, the authoritative, and the prophetic tone of an oracle. I want to go on here. I want to give you an example, because these examples are really good.
Here's an example.
This is one of her poems. This is from her book that everybody's making a big deal about. I guess they don't like it. The name of this book. Let me make sure I have it right. The name of the book. I think it's called The Good Dark. Again, what does that mean?
Well, I'm just going to listen to her for a minute and see what she's trying to explain, because I got to tell you right now, my answer would be, nope, try again. Nope, try again. But I'd love to hear how Jennifer Coffindoffer translates The Good Dark and a piece of it, because I didn't understand any of what she was talking about at all. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
That's the whole point. The good dark. It's ambiguous. What does that mean? Does that mean dark can be good? Dark can be good if you're a mushroom. Dark can be good if you want to go to sleep at night. Dark can be good if you enjoy wearing black.
That's what we're talking about.
It's meant to be ambiguous. It's meant to make you think. It's meant to be deep. It's meant to be symbolic. It is not meant to be evil. There's nothing satanic. There's nothing evil. There's nothing negative about it.
Well, I want to know how she knows that, because I got to tell you, just from hearing it, I'm very confused by the style. But when she says the good dark, that gets me too. That really gets me. Is there really a good dark? I mean, I have dark colored skin. That's good. And yeah, mushrooms are good in the dark because then they'll grow more. But what? I know we're going to get to the next one. Check this out. We're almost done here, and we're getting to the siblings and how they actually get along according to sources that are not Coffindoffer, that was probably swayed by the family.
About this at all. It's just people don't understand it, and they've decided to make it bad. Yes, I was right. It's called The Good Dark. That's the name of the book. This is what she says about what the good dark is. It is a privacy. The way the ribs curve around the breath, a black box holding the flight data of a bird that never landed. That is her primary poem in her book, The Good Dark. That's her primary poem, explaining what she means. You guys, this is absolutely beautiful in my mind. I'm a poet, by the way. I've only been published once. It was many years ago, but I write poetry all the time to my husband. I write it to my kids. When my mother passed, I wrote and read a poem.
Roses are red, violets are blue. What else can I tell you? But I love you. I can imagine those kind of poems, because right now I don't know what the hell she's spitting out there, right? Love true crime. What's up, Holly? Allie's in the house. Long time no see. Did you get yourself a coconut berry drink? Ooh, look at my arms. You can see right through them. Woo! All right, let's continue. Oh, I got a disappearing straw too. There it is. Now it's gone. All right, let's continue, guys. Come on in. Hit that like button if you forgot. We're getting into what many of us think. Now, there's others that think this way, and that's okay. Hey, Kel and Holly, both here. Yay. I don't know if it's perfect for kids, guys. It's a little dark. Are we romantic now? Well, I think those are what Jennifer Coffendorfer would write. Okay. She writes poems. Roses are red, violets are blue. I love you. I'm not evil. All right. That's all I'm taking away from that. Now let's just finish her thought, and then we're getting to the other side.
When my father passed, I wrote for him. Poetry is at its very core. It can be so beautiful. And I'm telling you, her writings are so deep and so good. Again, the good dark, it is a privacy. True. What do we mean by privacy? That's when you keep your thoughts, your life.
Yes, even understand that. And it's why I'm trying to understand it. And I don't understand where she's coming from. And not because I don't understand what she's saying. I just don't think that she is standing in the light. I don't see her lightness. Okay, there's light workers, and there's regular people that don't even know they're light workers, and there's people that you see, and all the time they just have this glow about them. And then there's other people that walk around and it looks like they have a freaking they're always walking around with the rain on their head, clouds and foggy. There's different people like that. And I can't see her light at all. All right, we're done talking about this because it's very biased, and I proved my point, what I wanted to say. I gave you guys enough info to go on. Now let's get to the duality side of this, the dual side. Signs the siblings are not as close as Savannah leads us to believe. All right. Let's go.
I'm making this video is I wanted to remind a lot of people out there who may live in Pima County, okay, that May 1st is a very important day, and a day that they shouldn't miss, because that's when your property tax is due. It's going to fall into delinquency because
May 1st. Why is he talking about that?
March 2nd has already passed, and that was the first payment that you were supposed to make, for this 2 installments of your property tax. And Pima County has reasonable taxes, man. If your house was, say, $350,000, your taxes would be in the $1,500, right? Not bad.
Wow.
Right? Light work. But if your house was, say,
I'm wondering if we're leading to that to talk about the money that Annie and Tommaso don't have. All right. That's what I gotta think it's going there. Why don't we spend this much energy on finding missing kids? Well, Jay, we do sometimes. Should everybody do that? Absolutely. I 110% agree with you. Go back to my episode yesterday. Go back to my 3 episodes last week that were not this case. I wish that we could, but money, unfortunately, and white privilege and certain other things gets in the way of the media coverage, don't you think? All right, let's continue.
$650,000, you're paying close to $4,000 now.
Okay, listen, $650,000 is the price that Annie and Tommaso paid for the house. That's what he's getting to. Okay, $650,000. You can't buy a cardboard box in San Jose for $650,000. Well, you can, but it's a 1-bedroom cardboard box, and you gotta have the money to keep up that. All right. Sorry, I missed it. This is, and it's always in the description, my friend. So if you forget, it's always in the description. This is Monk's Intrigue. Go sign up for it. Go check out my description. All the links are in it.
And that's a big difference. So
yep.
don't forget to pay your property taxes, okay? Because once May 1st rolls around, a 16% annual charge, right? Delinquency
I
fee.
don't even know what he's talking about, but Mama Pearl, you know, taxes were $10,000 this year, guys. So I don't even know what he's talking about. Maybe that's an error. Maybe we should move there. I have not seen this handsome dude in a while. What's up, Jumpers? Nancy, taxes were delinquent. An auction notice will be sent in January for delinquent taxes. Thank you, Jumpers, and it's good to see you. I'm glad you didn't bail out on us. It's always a pleasure. Savannah did donate big money to. She did. That's another thing, and I think that she donated the $500,000 to the missing and exploited children because she was showing the kidnapper or kidnappers that she holds all the power. She's in control. She's got the money. She'll pay the money. Just give her a frickin' proof of life or tell her where the body is and she'll pay. I think that was a strategic move, what she did. Right? Savannah would make millions on books and a movie deal about this crime. Nobody in the family would get as much as, yeah, but I just don't think that Savannah has, I really, truly don't think Savannah has anything to do with it. All right. Hashtag, please take your meds. The boss says live in San Jose, rental or own. It's expensive. Yeah, it's expensive. I mean, I don't even know if you buy a house nowadays, it's like $10,000 a month for mortgage. All right, let's continue. This is not the Bay Area, I'll tell you that. Let's go. And we're back.
Will be tacked onto that, outstanding balance. So hopefully you're not living in a house right now that is turning out to be more than you can chew.
Nope.
Nobody should do that, right? Not on a teacher's salary. So
remember, a teacher's salary, a poet, who knows how much money. She hasn't written a book since 2015. She's released other different kinds of articles. San Jose is Silicon Valley. It's the center of Silicon Valley, not California, because California, you're SoCal, so it's Northern Cali, and it's the center of all of the things that come to be. Google, Facebook, all the big things that people originally were funded that you could think of that are products, they came from here because we have a ton of angel investors out here that will give up money, and if they lose it, they don't even care. During COVID, we got funded $500,000 for a medical device, and we never even got it to fully work. They gave us $500,000 to make a medical device during COVID because the things that they were hooking people up to on the bed, they were hooking them up, and I can't remember what it is, but they wanted us to make a new and improved one. $500,000 was the financing. We never got any more financing. We built the product, but it never got finished. Nancy had refinanced her house last year, so loan could be A&T down payment, but I heard loan was repaid. How? Well, we're going to get into that. Let's continue. We don't know about their finances right now.
I want to share this comment from a member named Robin.
Know.
Now, of course, you have to take any comment that you read on the internet with a grain of salt, so I encourage you guys to do so. However, I will let you know that I choose to believe what Robin is telling us. So she writes,
Yep.
One of my dear friends, who is much older than myself, used to babysit Cameron's children when he resided in Virginia, and Nancy used to visit often, and they would spend time at the pool together. We spoke about this case, meaning Robin and this friend. They spoke about this case when it first happened, and she told Robin that Annie and Savannah did not have a very good relationship.
And I'm telling you, this is not the only person that said that. There are a lot of people and lots of speculation, and not just because they're speculating because Nancy went missing, but yes, Mo Franjo, we don't do taxes like that. We put the taxes into the house, my friends. It goes into the payment. There's no way, no how. A respirator, yes, a ventilator. We were making ventilators during COVID because there was an overflow of people that didn't have ventilators, and they funded us $500,000 COVID kind of stopped and the project stopped, never got funded, but we didn't have to pay that back. We had $500,000 to play with in San Jose at the mechanical engineering company that I work for. Guys, we have big machines, Morosiki, 3D printers. We can make anything and everything. All right. So that's saying San Jose is Silicon Valley, and that's why. All right. But we put our taxes. And anybody that hasn't bought a house, please put your taxes in to the house payments. You don't have to make huge payments and you don't make them. All right. Risa, Joe, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. I'm going to give some memberships.
That there was a lot of jealousy on Annie's side.
Yeah,
So
for the
the
ventilator.
reason I would put some stock into what Robin is telling us is because Robin didn't come out with this comment in a public video, okay, to share this. She did it on a members only video, a video I called Delinquency, in which I talked about discovering A&T's being late on their property taxes and the fact that they were about to go into, that delinquency phase, that 16% phase we talked about at the top, okay? Because imagine if she posted it in a video like Gate, okay, which right now sits at about 87,000 views. I think if she did it there, she would get a lot of traction and the attention if she wanted it. But no, she saved it for this members only video that at best could get a couple of hundred views.
Which is odd to do that. And I would never restream somebody else's members only, which would be really messed up. All right. I hope whoever got the membership wants the membership. No, Clementine, there's no rich in California. We just make more so we could pay more. That's it. That's all. All right. There's nothing. I will pay you later. Kim Wells wants a membership. If you can never pay someone else's mortgage, even if it's a little tiny place, buy it. If you can never, put your taxes in with the house, guys. Never do that. Wish we could have. We're going to Crime Con. Come on, Risa, you gotta go. Gotta go.
So, hey, to you, Robin, thanks for the comment. It does give us a troubling look into the relationship of Savannah and Annie. I mean, what can we gather from this, right? I feel we can gather that Nancy and her eldest son, Cameron, seem to have a healthy relationship, or a nice relationship if Nancy would get on a plane and go visit him often, as it was described, all the way in Virginia, where there is nothing. I used to visit my little sister in Virginia when she lived there. At least the part I went to, there was nothing. But the thing that jumps out to me, to all of us, is the fact that Savannah and Annie do not have a good relationship, okay? Now, we're talking about a candid poolside conversation with a mom and her eldest son.
All right. We're looking at the family dynamics. Again, I don't think Cameron has a thing to do with any of it. And you know what? We lost a lot of our employees to Apple moving to Texas. Now, Apple's still here in Silicon Valley, but they opened up another facility in Texas, and we lost some of our best engineers to that. Because you can go to Texas with money from Silicon Valley, and you could buy a freaking McMansion for $600,000, guys. All right, let's continue. Top our videos on Annie J. Pull up Jennifer. I did do that. What do you mean? I had it up. Let me know what you want. No, I haven't, but I've been to Ozfest more times than I can count.
That is overheard by a nanny. And I feel that is probably as raw as it gets if you want actual information, right? It's probably as real as it gets. And for a mother to, I don't know, have dialogue with her son, concerned about her two daughters' relationships, concerned enough, I would say, to even bring it up because she's on vacation. It must have been something that she maybe felt at a loss, into fixing. Is that right? At a loss about what to do and to even bring up, a one-sided jealousy. That's the kind of stuff that festers in a person's heart, that makes any small slight, feel huge, any misunderstandings into more resentment, right? That kind of stuff. That is pure poison. And if that's the case with Annie, then I guess the next thing we need to think about is exactly what is she jealous of? Because we have to remember that this is Nancy.
Now, I got to tell you something, Pug, and everybody else. I think you already know. There's no new information out there about anything. We have no idea what tip the FBI got from and who. Now, I'm not saying I believe any of this. I'm just letting you know FBI doesn't have a responsibility to tell us what's going on, and they certainly aren't. But we're going to talk about the saliva DNA today, Ben, after this. First, we have to have the family dynamics, and are Savannah and Annie really as close as everybody thinks?
Interpretation, right? A concerned mom's interpretation about her daughters and a perceived jealousy. Maybe what Nancy overlooked was it possibly wasn't Savannah that the jealousy stemmed from. Okay. Right. It could be the poison of jealousy stemming from, say, favoritism or perceived favoritism from a mom. Now, the little that we could find out about Annie, okay, what do we know? I mean, she's the poet, okay? She's the thinker, but she thinks more on the morose side, right? The dark side.
All right, so now we're going to start getting into it. You guys make your own decisions. You see her. I showed you the book. We listened to Cough, all right? But now we're hearing what the community has to say and painting a picture of the family dynamics, particularly the sisters, the siblings, and the jealousy, all right? Particularly that. All right, Risa says, you own it, girl. Yes, I'm old. I'm 46 years old. You learn, you know?
And described as even being a bit too shy, right? And then you have Savannah, okay? And simply put, she is vibrant. When you think about Savannah, you think about bright colors and almost joy. She's like the opposite of Annie. She's more like the child of light to Annie's shyness. She is the extrovert. You know, Savannah became a lawyer and she went on to be like a very wealthy TV personality.
Now, listen, guys, I'm telling you, and believe me or not, you guys know.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff.
There's people that are light workers. They work in the light and they don't mean to. Some people are just born light workers and they shine. All right. They hone in on it, etc. But I do not see that with Annie. All right. I don't want to sound weird, but how do we know there's jealousy? Well, because there are people that grew up with him. You got to remember, Nancy Guthrie bought that house in 1975. The kids grew up in that house, in that area, in that town. People know, people talk. That's why. All right. And I'll take that, Mystery Diva. I'll take that, my friend. All right, let's go.
That could possibly breed a bit of jealousy amongst siblings, right? Especially if you add into the mix that Savannah was possibly the light of Nancy's life as well, which would probably make that a pretty jagged pill of resentment to swallow. So now, if we're talking about siblings, then let's try to gauge Cameron as well. Okay, so he is the eldest sibling. I mean, today he is 61 years old, the Vermont Air National Guard that went on to rank as high as colonel, and he retired in 2018. And here's a picture. Nancy, Savannah, Annie, and all.
Now, think about this. Here's a question. And Holly, all of you guys, please, let's interact. I wonder how often they talk before this. I'm not going to answer that question, but I am going to say to you, Holly, how long did they wait to call Savannah when they knew that their mom was kidnapped? And you guys got to tell me, if they saw the doors propped open, they also saw the blood in the front. Now, there's 444 people in chat. I'm going to take that opportunity to say a prayer that Nancy Guthrie is brought home. All right. For the family, for everybody's sake. Then we can focus on other cases. All right. Let's continue. I do think Annie's innocent, and I hope so. I really do hope so. All right. Veneers, huh? Annie's eyes look funny. All right. Let's continue. There's the family. We talk about fake book, because these are the kind of fake book pictures that you see, right? And I do not see light surrounding this woman. I don't get where they see that or say that.
You had spouses, children, except for Tommaso. So maybe he had a big gig that night, you know, with Early Black. Now, if you've ever watched this Today Show segment, and it was way back from 2012, Savannah goes and visits Cameron at his home and the air base in Vermont. Now, I will say it's actually kind of cute to watch these two interact. They also feel like they are polar opposites, but polar opposites that actually kind of mesh, you know. Savannah is the silly little sister, and Cameron just looks at her, like the serious big brother does. Kind of, like how a big brother would look at his silly little sister, whatever, right? So he takes her out flying in an F-16, and you could almost feel the genuine relationship the two have, okay? Now, I also must say,
oh, see, we don't know much about Cameron, but he's never been on my radar. He wasn't the last person to see his mom alive. He goes here and there. He's one of those guys that probably sees the family during holidays. So I don't know, unless you know Cam or somebody knows Cam personally that can say. I don't see anything. I don't have any interest in him. Annie's the middle child, so maybe having emotional issues, being stuck between Cameron, responsible, and Savannah, the baby. Maybe. I mean, all of these are plausible because we just don't know. And that's cool. That's why I want you guys here. I want someone to say, hey, I think the opposite of what people are saying.
I don't feel they are super close as well, but that they do, love and respect each other. He's the big brother. Duh. He probably fell into the role, of answering his little sister's questions, right? Trying to solve their problems, because let's not forget that one day in 1988, their dad just abruptly passes away from a heart attack. And
49.
He was just 49 years old. Nancy never remarried after this. So basically, he was the love of her life. And now you got to think of Savannah. She was just 16 years old. Annie was 18. But Cameron, he was already 23 years old. He was a young man. And that's an age where life is still a bit confusing and you're still trying to make your way in it.
So cute. And here she's just a little ham. So that's Cameron, that's Savannah, and that's Annie. Again, you could just see their facial features and recognize them. And she's got the light, boy. There's that light shining, and she's essentially the baby. She is the baby because he's older. She's the middle child, right? And then Savannah's the star of the show. We know how that goes with the babies.
And to lose like a figure like your father at such an early age, you can only imagine it impacted him in such a way. So I guess it would be safe to say, or I guess to assume, that Cameron was thrust into a role that maybe he wasn't prepared for, but, he stood up for the challenge and he became the protector, right, of the three most important women in his life. And he probably had to do this for a couple of years, right, waiting for some.
Now, I gotta tell you, and that's cool, Cindy. That's cool if you think this has nothing to do with Nancy. I feel that it does, because you can go to any person that's working on this case. I have not heard one person say that this was not a targeted attack by somebody in the inner circle. Again, the DNA in the house shows that everybody was supposed to be there was there. There's only one set of DNA that maybe somebody else. All right. So I got to tell you, if it's a targeted attack from the family or somebody around the outside of the family, it absolutely has something to do with Nancy. But hey, you're right. On the other side, it could not.
Savannah to grow up, graduate, go to college. So once the youngest bird finally flew from the nest, Cameron would literally fly off himself, right, as he went to go join the Vermont Air Force. And this was just a couple of years later, when he was 27. So I will say, if his career didn't already give away to what his personality feels like, to me at least, he seems like a very disciplined, almost no nonsense kind of personality.
Yeah.
A matter of fact nature, I would say, which makes him a great person to turn to for answers. Okay, if you want the truth. Okay, and on the Today Show, she introduces her brother as the pride of the family because his position is honorable. And that's his role in the family as well, I believe. So when Savannah called him that night to tell him that, mom was missing, I think Cameron went straight into that role again of being the protector, right? The big brother that needed to give his little sister an answer. And the no nonsense answer that's coming from this man here. Okay, the first thing that came to his mind, he just said it: kidnap and ransom. And I don't think he said it to hurt Savannah in any way with that. He was
right. I think he just, with his background, guys, and what happened, and mom's gone and the blood's there, put two and two together, right? Because there were no notes, no ransom notes that we know of. Why Cameron did not pay for security alarm. Now, I gotta tell you, astrology, and many of you, I gotta tell you, go on your phone when you're done with this and check your cameras. Every single person that has a camera, you have a Ring camera, you have a Nest camera, go check it and make sure that the bill is still going through. Because I gotta tell you, I've been caught with my pants down a few times when it comes to that, because I'll change credit cards, right? You get some credit card fraud and all of your bills get tossed off. You got to put a new credit card in. Oh, shoot. I've got 30 other bills, but I forgot that one, because I can see the video, but I'm not having to rewind it. So a lot of people just get comfortable in their situations. And I agree with you 110%, but I don't think it was intentional. I really just don't. There could be quite a bit of a conflict, religion versus dark art goth fetish. Yeah. I mean, does anyone, 1.2 million, anybody? Let's go get it.
Just saying what he thought it was, what came to mind, right? I feel he only understood the magnitude of what he said when she asked him if he thought it was because of her. Now, by then, I think he just had to own up to what he said. His exact words were, "I'm sorry, sweetie, but yeah, maybe." Okay. And that does seem to go along with his personality type, at least from what I gauge. Of course, because Savannah told this story, a lot of people started to look at Cameron a certain way. Okay. They started to hone in on him, and hey, man, where were you on February 1st at 2?
And see, people have been talking about that, but all of that just kind of swipes beside me, because I got the two people that have the most to gain. Annie and Tommaso have the most to gain. And that is where FBI will look as well. Okay. Don't take my word for it. Just understand that that's just how it goes. If you're a husband or a wife or a spouse or the closest person and you're living with somebody or the last person, you're automatically going to be a person of interest or a suspect. And I think that's why Ashley Banfield really put that out, because technically she's right. But, it doesn't mean that they had it written down on a piece of paper, or like they had charging documents for them, but they're going to want to talk to you about what you did that night, how many minutes it took. I mean, they tore apart their car. For God's sake, what were they looking for?
However, to me at least, I don't subscribe to that. I really don't see a reason for him to do that. Now that you know that Nancy possibly was visiting him a lot when he was up in Virginia, right? I don't see him having anything to do with it. And so I guess I'll just say, if Cameron wasn't such, robotic, he wouldn't be telling his little sister what he told her if he was considering her feelings at all times, okay? And if Savannah and Annie were that close, then Savannah would never pick up the phone when Annie was calling her about mom being missing. And the first thing that she would ask picking up the phone is there something wrong?
Right. I think that the fact that she called her, maybe she called her incessantly, guys. All right. Maybe she called over and over, and that's why it took hours. Remember, there was a 52-minute delay inside of that house until Annie and Tommy called 911. And then when they called Savannah, they had already done all that. They had already seen the doors propped open. They didn't mention the blood. All right. And they had already called 911. If you recall them talking, she says, "Hey, what's up?" And what's going on? Mom's missing. Cameron thinks she's kidnapped. Did you call 911? Oh, yeah, we did that already. All right. But everybody thinks that the family or the inner circle is involved. When I say everybody, I am talking about the most people on the case that are experts, lawyers, prosecutors. Every single person is like, "Yep, this is an inside job." Now, it doesn't mean that it's any of these people in the picture, but they mean somebody in that inner circle. All right. Paid security. Is security guys coming into your house if you have an intruder? Windows or doors open? Why Cameron did not? I'm trying to figure out why Cameron would have to pay for that. I'm just interested in Was he paying her bills? Is there something I don't know? Because I'm not sure. That was an odd question. Hey sis, what's up? What's wrong? Right? All right, let's continue. We're gonna talk about the inner circle as well.
And I remember that the thing that reminded me of is when my wife picks up the phone when the school calls us, and she would literally pick up the phone and ask, is he okay? Meaning our son, right? I feel like that is a very similar scenario, right?
Back.
When you get called from somebody or some entity like her entity that we don't expect, that the only time that they would call is if there was something that was wrong. And if Savannah and Annie had like this really good relationship, then they would want to talk to each other every day. And the first thing that Savannah would have said was, hey sis, how's it going? Not, is there something wrong? And I do also want to address when Savannah said that no one took better care of her mother than Annie and Tommaso. And I feel
Certainly did. And I gotta tell you, whether they have something to do with it directly or indirectly, meaning some of the band members, some of his friends, they knew that they had just bought a house and mom's out there in the dark with not a lot of coverage or lights with a house that can't be recorded because they didn't pay for the bill. All right. And, you know, Gigi, here's the thing is, so many experts are saying it's highly unlikely that she was essayed. The plausibility and probability is very low in this case, right? No one is looking for her. I know. Why are people not out there looking for her? I think she's way closer than she thinks. Yes, she did. I think she put too much trust in them, to be honest.
well, that's only because no one else was taking care of Nancy at all. They're not doing that from New York. They're not doing that from Vermont. Annie and Tommaso were there. Okay. They were the designated caretaker. So what Savannah is saying is, I feel more like, you know, the media friendly lawyer, right? She's saying exactly what is technically true. Now, in every family, there is someone who is the spokes of the family wheel, right? The person that keeps the family running. If this sibling, it doesn't get along with this sibling, you had this other person that pretty much kept them connected, you could say, right? And I feel that Nancy was that. She was the spokes of the Guthrie family. Now that she's no longer around, it might probably mean that the kids will grow more distant from each other.
Right. And that tends to happen when somebody's in New York, Cameron's where, and Annie and Tommaso are out there. They just bought a house. Now they've got their hands on 2 mortgages because somebody's got to pay for that, right, Emily? Somebody's got to pay for those loans that were taken out. Somebody's got to keep the house running, or they simply have to get it ready to sell, which means, right, they're going to have to box stuff up and sell it. Now, there's 420 people exactly in chat. If you do me a favor and hit that like button, that'd be awesome. Emily, good to see you. Annie posted a video of a bobcat on her fence, so she had a critter cam. Did she get hers before Nancy got hers? Seems odd. Nancy was asking on Facebook about cameras. Why not ask her kids? Exactly. Just she maybe trying to be self-sufficient. Like that's why she took an Uber, possibly. Maybe Savannah didn't say what's wrong first. She said that on the TV interview. Yeah, who knows? But let's continue. I'm going to tell you the inner circle.
I mean, Savannah's already gone back to work, right? And Cameron, I assume, has already gone back to Vermont.
Yep.
And Annie,
okay,
back to her home. Tommaso, I don't know, getting chased by JLR. So I'm going to leave you guys with just a little bit of food for thought for you guys to nibble on throughout the night, okay? So
getting chased by JLR. Who's out there getting chased by JLR? Who's JLR stalking now? And I'm not even trying to make fun of him. Hey, his coverage he covers a lot. All right. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate that. Yeah, we don't know about the finances yet, but we're going to talk about what expert stats would imply about this being a SA case and the people in the inner circle. And then we're going to get to the DNA. So thank you guys for being here today. Hit that like button, subscribe, get a membership. I will gift another membership on the next video. If anyone wants to match me, that'd be cool. we can get closer to our goal. All right, let's continue. Let's finish this up.
Remember that Savannah is a lawyer, okay? A lawyer that is also media trained. That's a powerhouse. So I can guarantee you that the verbiage that she chooses to use is calculated, okay? So in that awful interview with Hoda Kotb, okay, and the awful part only being Hoda, of course, Savannah said something that just stuck inside my head because it's so weird to me. It felt to me in the way that she worded it that it makes me feel like there was something there beforehand. Like what she was trying to say was, I guess, didn't put Nancy in a good light. And so she came up with that she had a mischievous sense of humor. Have you ever heard anybody be described as having a mischievous sense of humor? So I'll say this before I give you my thoughts about why she said it like that. I'd like you to pause the video and think about it for yourself, okay? And form your own opinion.
We're just gonna form our own opinion and move on because I got a lot to cover. I'm just gonna tell you right now what he's saying is mama don't play. All right. She might not throw the chancla, but she's definitely gonna get you with that wooden spoon, and she's not gonna take any shit. Oh my goodness, Risa Joe, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to Guilty of Crime. Oh, we're going to go into the body language suspect in a minute as well. And Salehounds, I hope you got your email. Foxy's supposed to email you. She probably already did. Tommaso. Now remember, these people are all still connected to Tommaso. And when you see Derek Colella down there, he's been formally charged with sending the text message to Annie and Tommy about where's my Bitcoin. Every single one of those people have been detained or a person of interest that are connected to them. All right. Yeah, he does have a great sense of humor. All right, we need justice for Nancy. We want to bring her home. And before we talk about the DNA, I want you guys to realize about the perp and the inner circle, and then we'll get to the DNA because I'm not going to cover this tomorrow unless there's some breaking news. We're moving on to a different case tomorrow. It doesn't mean we're not going to come back and cover this. It just means I'm not going to cover it tomorrow unless something's crazy. All right, listen up.
Dr. Gary Brucato was on the interview room last night, and he explained how he goes about analyzing these crimes like the Nancy Guthrie case. He said what he does is he looks at the statistics to run likelihoods of certain scenarios. So in this case, he asked himself, is this a homicide or an abduction or a robbery gone haywire? He told the audience 60% of people who are unalive know who did it. They recognize that person in some way. So it's likely whoever did this is not a stranger. Brucato also said if you are female, there is a 92% chance that you personally know who harmed you. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be the postman, it could be the pool maintenance guy. Dr. Brucato also said that when it comes to essays, 8 out of 10 essays are done by somebody who knows the victim. The essay.
And that doesn't apply to an older person or a younger person. It's just sexual assault, okay, for what it is. The inner circle fetish ball. All right, let's continue. We got to get through this so we can get to the DNA. Mama Pearl had 8 siblings, no jealousy at all. Right. And I'm sure most of you didn't have a younger baby sister that became a millionaire and you had to see her on TV every day when you absolutely despise her, right? They made it easy for Savannah. She didn't have to be there to take care of mom. Agreed. And I can't imagine why they didn't pay somebody, why they didn't pay someone to do that.
A victim would recognize the perpetrator. However, Dr. Brucato seems to believe that an elderly 84-year-old woman to be essayed would be highly, highly unlikely. When it comes to elderly people, apparently it's usually a family member, and 70% of the time it would happen in a nursing home or in your own home. Basically, he was saying that he thinks the likelihood that Nancy was essayed is pretty much minuscule. He also ruled out the serialist idea. Basically, he said no to a serialist. It's possible, but it is not probable. And if it were a serialist, that person would likely already be in CODIS. Dr. Brucato said that 350 abductions occur per year in the United States, and the majority of the abductees are usually children, and they are usually taken by a family member. He also emphasized that it is very rare for an elderly woman like Nancy Guthrie to be abducted. He said it would be more likely that it would be a financial motive behind whatever happened to Nancy Guthrie.
Now, I didn't notice that with the backpack until I watched Dr. G breaking this down, and I didn't realize how full the backpack was. And then when he walks down those stairs, the backpack's actually open. You can see the top open with something coming out of it. Now, Dr. G speculates that it's a tarp, which it could be. We don't know. At this point, we know nothing about none of that. All right. And yeah, I mean, there's so many different things that we can talk about. Narcissist, but really, I don't know if anyone's diagnosed. So I don't like to throw those terms around too lightly. All right, let's continue this because it's important to me anyway.
And that would be a financial motive by somebody who knows the victim. There's no evidence of a robbery in this case. And abduction, according to Dr. Brucato, also seems unlikely because if you wanted to take a victim, try to exchange them for a Bitcoin, you would take their medication, you would let Nancy Guthrie leave with her shoes, with a coat. Dr. Brucato also indicated if it's most likely somebody who knows you, then it's usually a financial motive. And that's why you would start looking at Nancy Guthrie's inner circle. I can't help it when Dr. Brucato is on the interview room with Chris McDonough. It just always feels like they are still looking at somebody in the inner circle. Now, they didn't name any names, but I can't help thinking.
Now, if you guys haven't, been obsessing over this case like many of us have, this is what Savannah's referring to, in my opinion, when she says it was her fault. She's the one that brought these people to her mom's bedside. Okay. Now, again, I don't think that it's some random crazy viewer of Savannah's that just despises her, although it could be. All right. It could be, but that's what they mean. That's right inside of her room. That's the closest we've got to see inside of her room. I wish there were a press conference. Who's got a press conference? Anybody? All right. I bet Andy and Tommaso got, yeah, of course they got something out of taking care of Nancy. There's no way that there wasn't some sort of exchange, but were they getting tired of it? I don't know. I invited someone to watch the show. If she shows up, I'm proposing on my favorite channel. Yes, Harris O'Rourke, I'm right here for you, buddy. Let's do it. I'll watch out for your comments. Make sure you stop me if you need to, okay? All right, maybe she does pay or give money to them. We don't know. It's all speculative right now. We really don't know. Yes, I can't wait. Let us know, man. Let us know. Let's continue. And you can tell she was younger there.
About Annie Guthrie and Maso Sioni, although Sheriff Nanos has said that they are cleared, but then again, a lot of detectives on YouTube have said there's no way that the sheriff can say who's been cleared or who hasn't been cleared. That would be the job of the district attorney. But again, when you say inner circle, it could also be Nancy Guthrie's postman, her pool guy, a landscaper, perhaps somebody that she worked with when she was at the university. Dr. Brucato then said, let's all look at the video of Porch Guy. What can we tell from the video? Dr. Brucato said when he's looking at somebody like Porch Guy, he's thinking about the psychology. He's trying to understand the person's intelligence level. When it comes to Porch Guy, he said, okay, this person is smart enough to so far get away with the crime. He clearly did some planning, but he
clearly did some planning, but not enough. And again, I got to tell you, I think this is all just a distraction from what actually happened. All right. I just gifted another membership, guys. I just realized it's tax day, right? April 15th is your last day to do taxes. So if you guys got to do your taxes, make sure you do them and hopefully you get a membership. I did my taxes last weekend. Yay for me. I usually do it way earlier, but I didn't have all my stuff this year. So guys, do your taxes. If you have taxes, do them. I mean, we could talk all day about Derek Colella and Tommaso and the connections, right? That the fact that they texted Tommaso and Annie. And listen, Mystery Diva. They also said we're getting sick of waiting for the Bitcoin. And they called them on the phone for 9 seconds. 9 seconds could just be to say, hey, meet me at the restaurant. Done. Hang up. Because listen, when we're following a case like the Adelsons, Charlie Adelson and all them that put the plot together, they would literally have code words and go meet in a restaurant somewhere where people couldn't hear them. So I'm telling you right now, that 9-second call, I'm speculating, but what was that call that whoever answered the phone, what did they say? All right. Did you guys realize that? They called as well? All right, let's continue. I don't know if you guys realize
He
that.
still did some stupid things. He said, this guy is not a genius. He's not the brightest bulb. And what he cited was the outfit the guy's wearing, the holster, the wrong holster for the weapon that he's got, some of his bumbling behavior, grabbing the flowers, going up to the camera. Dr. Brucato also emphasized how calm and cool Porch Guy is. So he asked himself, is this guy a psychopath? And it seems likely because you don't see any concern, any worry about threats. This guy moves slowly. He doesn't look stressed at all. It's almost like it's a regular day at work for him. According to Dr. Brucato, what it looks like is Porch Guy probably has committed home invasions before. He is a very cold person. He is very callous. He doesn't care at all about Nancy Guthrie. And he's probably had a sociopathic personality from a very young age. And Dr. Brucato felt that Porch Guy was probably in jail before, maybe not prison, because we heard that the DNA did not match with anybody who is in CODIS.
But I assure you, people that do a crime like this are ready to commit another one at some point soon. Many people get caught that way, but I really do hope genetic genealogy helps. Now, I don't have a definitive answer. I did hear it through the grapevine that Kayla is finally out, but Kayla was in there for other charges and drug charges. They kept her for some time, but that was because of her own situation. All right, let's continue. We're going to talk about his movements and what he does after this.
And I have to say, I heard former DA Matt Murphy say the same thing. He believes that this person was likely in the Pima County jail before. He is probably known to the police on some level. Dr. Brucato also said that this guy is probably a jerk. He's probably a nasty person. People in the area probably know this nasty person. Might be the asshole that you see from time to time at the local Walgreens. He might be somebody who exhibits road rage. Dr. Brucato didn't say those things, but
it could be the guy that confessed to it. Who knows, right? We've got all of these people, and I brought this back up because you guys are talking about DJ Mojito and Derek Colella and the band members. There's Kayla Day right on there. Kayla Day and Luke Daly. All right. Luke Daly was also detained, and he went on the news to tell us, hey, I didn't do shit. But all of these people are connected back to Annie and Tommaso, and thus far, this face has got, it's hard for me to unsee. So thus far, this face of the man that says, I'm not a female, is the closest one that I've found to. His face looks like a mask. Again, we're going to do some other looks at the whole thing. But yeah, Kayla's out now, but it didn't have to do with that. All right. So I can't get past this. There's a couple people that it looks like, and this is the main one. But am I saying that's him? No, it could absolutely be him. Who knows? I don't think so. I don't think he'd be that dumb. I think the distraction at the front door was to distract from what they were doing in the back. All right. Let's finish this so we can get into the DNA and the body language, etc.
He did say the guy's a jerk. He's a nasty person, probably. He's very callous. Dr. Brucato also did not rule out the possibility that Porch Guy is the only one of maybe a group who got captured on that camera. So there's a possibility that somebody else hired this guy to commit that crime or to assist with the crime. Dr. Brucato said that if it was this guy who was mad at Nancy, we would see it in his behavior on that porch. He would be more rage-filled, Also, if they were to find Nancy, let's say early enough, they may have noted that there was over unaliving, if you know what I mean. Dr. Brucato said, well, maybe nothing went the way it was supposed to go. Perhaps.
Now, guys, if they do find the body, then it's going to be a lot easier to start arresting and prosecuting people, because we don't know if it was an overkill. We don't know. And maybe that's why they didn't leave the body there, because, but we're still at the same, we're coming full circle back to what the motive is. And I say, follow the money. But why didn't they leave her body there? Did they do something so bad? And did they decide in the midst of it, when she said, I don't have money like that they were going to try to get another opportunity? I mean, these are all questions I don't know.
Nancy Guthrie passed away by accident, and the people who are responsible for the crime are thinking, so now what? What do we do? How can we capitalize on this? But it could be somebody in the inner circle, again, who wanted to eliminate Nancy Guthrie to get what they want. Maybe she was a burden to somebody. Maybe they wanted to get at her money.
I know.
Or her daughter's money. Maybe it was somebody who tried to make it look like an outsider committed the crime. So again, Dr. Brucato said that Porch Guy doesn't really care. He's callous. He probably has a long history of doing this stuff, maybe in a petty way, petty crime, petty burglaries. Dr. Brucato is also convinced that Porch Guy is a local. He also believes that this person is likely watching all these shows on YouTube.
You know, for the life of me, angry Titanic lady, I cannot for the life of me understand why there's not a ground search in the area. Ponds, you know, like what they did with Sebastian, or what they do with other people. Why? Does anyone know why nobody's out there searching the ground? Because I do think that Nancy Guthrie's body is closer than y'all think it is. All right. I just cannot understand that. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate you so very much. Hit that like button, my friend. Happy April 15th. Do your taxes if you have.
Dr. Brucato said that he's been waiting to receive a letter from Brian Kohlberger, and he's thinking perhaps he may get a letter at some point from whoever committed this crime, because that person may want to know, well, what was it that you saw in me that made you think of this type of person? What sort of signs did you see that alerted you to somebody like me? Not me. I mean, I'm talking about like Brian Kohlberger or Porch Guy. So it really seems like who's ever working at the jail there in Pima County, all of those.
Now, I gotta tell you guys, some people say Savannah exploited her mom. I don't think so. I think she was just trying to give her mom a purpose. And so when she went on the show, she did some fried chicken segment where she made fried chicken, and now to do the beds. I mean, I just really think that she loves her mom and was being cute. Now, Patricia in NY is throwing us the party at the Bellagio. All right. So that's she's here. I was telling y'all earlier. Maybe. All right. So the hostess with the mostess is going to be there. I also emailed you, Patricia. All right, let's continue. Yeah, she's proud of her mom. She loved her mom, and she's sitting in the house all day by herself. I would want to include her too.
People really, really need to look at that video. They might know who that guy is, but maybe it's going to take more staring at Porch Guy to try to decipher which one of the assholes who's come through our jail in the past could this be. I think we do see an asshole in Porch Guy. I mean, the way he rips Nancy's flowers out of the pot. To me, that shows an utter disregard for other people's property. Of course, that's minor in this situation because, of course, we know that Nancy was taken.
That was weird that she even said that. But guys, there is still hope. There is still hope that the DNA that they got is from this slobbering idiot, okay, that had to have slobbered on his gloves at some point and other things with that bite light, right?
And whoever took her went into her home without her permission. So this person just doesn't care about other people's property, other people's lives. Bottom line, whoever did this is extremely callous.
All right. And they'd have to be callous to do that to a 84-year-old 90. I was watching a show last night and the lady was 101. And I was like, you go, girl. All right, now let's talk about the analysis of the photos, video by human behavior, and then the DNA. All right, again, justice for Nancy Guthrie. We need to bring her home. All right, there are the connections for you. with Annie and Tommaso and all of the people that have been detained or arrested. Now, Derek Colella is being charged with sending the text messages to Annie and Tommaso. I'm sorry, I was reading at the same time. Deborah, my taxes are done, spent on repairs. Isn't that life? Isn't that how life goes? All right. And then we've got Tommaso that's been hiding out, not showing his face, while Savannah says, I'm sure not going to hide my face. So where are we in this case? Where are we in this case? Well, we're back to looking at the human behavior of the porch person and then the DNA that might be the thing that solves the case, guys. I think it's the only thing that is going to solve the case, in my opinion, is the DNA. Because unless we have a body, I don't know what we're going to do. But I'll tell you right now, I would be out there searching day and night. And if I couldn't do that, and I had $40 million worth of whatever, I would definitely hire someone to do that and get a group together of people. I couldn't imagine not searching for my mom. That's crazy. I don't get it.
Breaking news in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Spine-chilling video shows an armed masked suspect lurking outside the 84-year-old's front door.
Now, we're just going back for a few minutes to when this came out and the analysis about him. Just pay attention to some of the things, because this is all we have right now to look at are these videos of this person and that, until DNA either comes back or they say, we messed up the DNA, we can't extract anymore.
On the morning she disappeared. Well, these terrifying new images have been plastered all across TV screens all afternoon. But what exactly do they show? A body language expert is...
Right,
investigations in cases like this. So, Susan, I know there's a lot to digest in this new video right here, but let's start with just a few things here. I think we're going to see the eyes here in just a second. So if we can pull up the eyes, what did you see in the eyes that caught your attention?
Well, I'm looking at the shape of his eyes, right? He's kind of these almond-shaped eyes, and you can see how nicely manicured his eyebrows are, and they're also very thin. So he's very manicured. What that tells me also is that there's no tension. If he were in this high alert kind of scenario, you would see these eyebrows kind of pinching together.
So he's comfortable.
It is interesting because he looks very comfortable in the entire video. When he walked up, he's like, oh, shoot, I see the light. Let me put my head down so they don't get me. Let me cover this, here. Cool and Chris say, so we're in the same time zone, right? Callie is 2 hours behind us. Right now it's 5:48 p.m. in California. Yeah, I don't believe she's alive at all. Some people still think so. I think even Savannah realizes that we're looking for a body. Tucson girl, maybe the DNA in CODIS was found in Nancy's house, in Annie's car. Perhaps she'd give rides to friends who also visited. Right. Now we're just waiting. CrimeCon is in Las Vegas this year. It's May 29th through the 31st. All right, let's continue. I know, big eyes. And that's why I keep looking back at this one, because of those eyes. He's got those big eyes and long eyelashes. Again, it's just what I see. We can see so many different people and say, yeah, that looks like him.
Very comfortable. He's cool as a cucumber. But what I'm looking at dimensions between here and here, eye dimensions from there to there. This you can't change.
Okay, that just hit me, because if you did the dimensions there, you could line that up to databases, driver's licenses. So that's what they'll be looking at.
Exactly. And also the other point, which is now he's got I think he's either got a light in his mouth. I'm not sure where that's coming from. And there's another photo. It was actually showing the little patch underneath.
I think we have that. Let's go to the height first of all. Okay, let's talk about the height. If we can pull up the next one here. What did you notice when you saw how...
Again, I'm going to go a little past this because it's funny. They talk about a gold tooth. Some people thought there was a gold tooth. In this picture, I thought that this was double. They had double gloves. But then I start looking back at, it gets me confused because I look back at Luke Daly, and when he did that interview, he was suited all the way up, and his hand, the same hand that did this, was all swollen. So I don't know what that's for. I don't know. All right, let's continue. They say bloodshot eyes. It's hard to tell. It really is.
Evaluation.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the archway when he comes through. If I had that measurement of the height of the archway, I could measure how far he is down from it. The other thing is too, there's another photo, which is, this is not as clear, but his top of his head when he's really up close to the wall, there's 3 bricks. 3 layers of bricks. So all you have to do is measure from the top of the brick on down. That gives you his height.
So again, database, you'll know exactly how tall he is.
So I always look at proportional measurements. I also looked at to see his body proportion. He's definitely more long torso, shorter legged. He's very athletic. When he walked away.
What I want to know is why law enforcement doesn't have a sketch out there. Law enforcement doesn't have some official profile. I mean, I know they have a Mexican man with a mustache, but that could be anyone. What are you guys talking about? $650 is what? You guys talk about taxes? That's expensive, guys. It's definitely money, financial. Well, that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing. Financial, nobody's gotten anything. The only people that are profiting at this point are Annie and Tommaso, right? A strut. All right, you should probably marry me at CrimeCon. Just saying. Oh, did we get I thought we were doing today. What happened? You got trying to marry 2 different ladies? All right, let's continue.
He had a little extra weight. I'm not talking about heavy or anything, but just a little bit more curvature here. And he had a little bit thicker thighs up on the top. So I'm looking at when he walks, does his legs rub together? Does he have a bowed out? Does he have a pigeon toe? Does he have one foot that kind of flares out than the other? All these things are characteristics of each person's body language DNA.
Okay, let's go to the mustache here. It's kind of hard to see in this one. Some of the other images showed it a little better. That's really blown in there. What did you see in the mustache?
What I saw was, of course, it's just very manicured. So he's a kind of guy that really takes good care of himself. You can see that, right? He's very well manicured. Even in his burglary attire, he's really well put together. So he's got a very thin layered mustache. It's cleaned and trimmed up very much. Dark brown. So he's got dark brown eyes. He's got dark brown or black hair, because you can see in his eyebrow color. You can see it in this little patch underneath here. Okay. So now watch his body. See his.
Okay, so he was walking away. We caught it there. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You can see his movement, how he actually moves. Now, most people, like you and I, if we're in the grocery store and somebody saw you from back, they go, "Hey," you know, they would know who you are. See, right here, right there.
Okay.
There is that movement right there. That in itself is characteristic of him. He's very fit. He's very trim. I would say.
But I don't know what that has to do. See,
that's he's entering in. So he's not going in there with an empty backpack and going out with something full. So he's not going in there to rob something. It's already filled up. So this, unfortunately, was probably, ropes or ties or whatever he had in.
See, there's nothing else that makes sense of why they would have kidnapped Nancy Guthrie. But the only thing I can say is that what I'm hopeful for in this whole entire case is that DNA that they won't send to a lab to go faster. Sheriff Nanos didn't tell the FBI about it and just did what he wanted. Now, I was reading some things and they say it might be too degraded. Like they might have already used it enough or tried to extract it enough and put it into CODIS that they don't have much left. So let's pray that we don't get, some kind of press conference that says, well, Sheriff Nano messed up and he sent the DNA to the lab and they were unsuccessful in recovering it. Then we're done. If we don't find a body, if Nancy Guthrie's body's not found or someone doesn't start talking, guys, it's going to be a while. What's up, Nancy? Good to see you. All right. Let's I keep looking at those eyes and the eyelashes and the face, and it really could be anyone, but it's hard to unsee that, right? And again, look at Luke. Luke is all manicured in that. And somebody talked earlier about Tommaso with a beard, but speculation says that Tommaso shaved down his beard and covered his face until about week 6 or 7 when he came back from wherever he was at. All right. But why is he hiding his face and his beard? All right. Again, I just gave you 3 different scenarios right there because that's all we have. That's it. That's all,
I
man.
want to ask you one more question before we run out of time here. We've seen the videos with Savannah and her brother and a brother-in-law and sister, and now Savannah's doing the videos by herself. Does that tell you anything? I don't want to lead anybody down that road, but is that a clue that you look for as, okay, why is she doing it by herself now? What do you see in that?
Well, we saw the brother doing by himself too, just to be fair. So
That's true.
she also had makeup on. So today when she was on a video, she had makeup on where before she did not, and she was not, of course, with her siblings. So the fact that the other two siblings were not there is telling me that the two of them don't want to be involved with that anymore. They may not feel comfortable being in front of the camera. You could see the brother was a little bit on the agitated, showed a little bit of contempt. You may not have known what to look for. I do. So there's a little edge that he had. So I mean, he's probably dealing with a lot of anger and frustration, and you can actually see when him kind of bracing his arms and so forth, the way he's seated. And the other sister's kind of melted in the seat, and she's her voice is a little bit more calm. She doesn't really speak out. So Savannah's the spokesperson. She's out there front and center.
That's what she does.
Right.
That's what she does.
Exactly.
All right, we'll have to leave it at that. Once again, Susan Constantine, always great to see you. Appreciate you coming in today. All right, Luann, I'll send it back over to you.
All right.
Gotta pause when I say stop. All right, guys, you guys are gonna love this because this just came out and it's never breaking news, which is what I love about this guy. All right. It came out 7 hours ago. He doesn't do breaking news, but he breaks down the facts. The evidence you can't see is the DNA. Okay. This guy, we talked about this last time, was a sheriff and then a judge at some point. All right. But Judge Brewer is his name. Let's listen to what he has to say about the DNA, because as far as I am concerned, we are missing DNA. We don't know where the DNA came from. Did they miss the DNA on that carpet? Anyway, let's talk about this.
Here's the problem with this case. Everyone is focused on what they can see. You know, the video, the suspect, the movement, and the timeline. But the real cases, the ones that actually get solved, they're built on what you can't see, the DNA, and more specifically, saliva DNA. Now, let me explain something that most people, they don't understand. DNA doesn't just come from blood. DNA, it comes from a variety of things, such as your skin cells, sweat, hair,
and I do too. Judge Brewer's awesome. He takes his time. I have to speed him up, but I gotta tell you, that's odd for that to happen and to be covering his face. And then when he reveals his face again, his beard is trimmed down. Did he cut that whole thing off and then dip out and grow some of it back? I mean, what are they hiding from? That's what I want to know. What are they hiding from? Number one. And number two, who is profiting the most? All right, let's continue.
Yes, saliva. These things, they're uncontrollable. We can't control how we lose all of these items from our bodies. And saliva is one of the easiest ways that a suspect can leave themselves behind and not even realize it, because it's something that we don't even think about. Even when they think that they didn't, they still leave things behind that they have no control over. So let's take a look at this very carefully, because this is where things start to get real. You don't have to spit to leave saliva DNA. All it takes is licking your lips, breathing heavily, talking, touching your mouth, or holding.
And this is this is all we have at this point is that DNA, and we're impatiently waiting on it. Now, typically people in cases like this, we typically hear more about it. We get press conferences, etc. However, we've been getting press conferences prior to Sheriff Nanos, and he says a whole lot of nothing. All right. Yeah, I agree. If you have nothing to hide, why not show your face? Why not go out there and search who's getting the most, etc. All right. They didn't try to hide their face, hide who they are. They're consciously guilty. They have an urge to not be seen. Thanks, Cat Granny. I love that opinion. I agree.
Something in your mouth. You know, when we talk, particles are coming out of our mouth and we cannot control that. And there's a part that should make everyone pause here, because the suspect in this case, he had this flashlight in his mouth. It's called the bite light. That one detail, it really changes everything about this case, because when you place an object in your mouth, you're transferring saliva directly onto that object. And when you remove that object, you can leave behind droplets, residue, microscopic DNA particles. Now, this stuff can sit on floors.
Now, this could be just coincidental, but I got to tell you, the number one thing that Annie Tommaso didn't tell Savannah was that there was blood at the front door. Did they leave that out on purpose to tell her when she got there? Or maybe they just didn't even want to repeat that because they know who directly caused it. And yes, that damn Matt's still out there, guys. All right, you're going to hide from JLR. Hey, have you seen JLR out there, Tucson girl? But the other person involved in taking Nancy's are pissed. Porch guy for showing his partial face and sticking the light in his mouth. He may bring down the whole gang, and I hope so. That's what we can hope for. I know Lucas does too. Oh, they said the back doors were propped open. I assure you, that porch guy, when he rolled up, he was like, "Hey man, open the door." It's not, in my opinion, that's what his body language showed me, that he was going to hit on the door and trying to get in. Now, after that, he had to walk around unless they opened the door for him, which we don't know. JLR went home for now. Okay. All right. Tommaso was in Italy growing his stuff back, maybe. I don't know. All right. Let's talk about the DNA because, in my opinion, that's the only hope we have alongside finding Nancy's body. And I hate even saying that, but
doorways, handles, light switches, or anything nearby in the area where the suspect is stationary inside, wherever. Now, there's a moment in this case that didn't get enough attention, and it should have. The second that we saw that flashlight in the suspect's mouth, that should have triggered something in the very early stages of this investigation. And every investigator watching should have picked up on this, because now we're not just looking at movement, we're looking at a biological transfer. That suspect may have adjusted the flashlight in his mouth. He may have dropped it and had to pick it up. He at some point he removed it, and he probably had to reposition it. Every one of those actions, it's a potential DNA drop point. And here's the reality: DNA, it's not visible to the naked eye. You don't just see it. You have to know where to look to find it. And this is where experience matters. A crime scene isn't just processed; it's read. You have to read a crime scene. Investigators, they don't just walk through a home randomly, swabbing things.
You got to read a crime scene. I love his voice. All right. How wasn't there more attention being given to her connection with Epstein? There probably is Rebel Princess. I'm imagining that some of the sleuths, there's a channel called Web Sleuths and things like that. I just can't go there with that in this case. It just seems far-fetched to me, but it's a possibility. We've talked about it, and it's not the biggest thing for me. I just don't think that. Based on the family's behavior, I believe they saw something from the inside cameras. I agree. It's 9 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. What is the 9 o'clock update coming? Is there a 9 o'clock update coming? Because it's 9:03 on the East Coast. It's 6:03 here on the West Coast. All right, let's continue. I love his accent. It's cool. Yeah, and the Epstein files, I'm not covering that because it's just too much. It's terrible. Terrible, terrible. The things that they did to those girls and the women. Ugh.
Things. They have to reconstruct behavior, and they have to ask these questions. Where did the suspect pause at? Where did they hesitate? Where did they interact with objects inside the house? Where were they stationary long enough to leave something behind? Now, if that suspect had something in their mouth, you better believe that experienced investigators are thinking to themselves now, where would saliva have built up at? Where would it have dropped? Where would it have transferred? Because that's where your case actually lives, especially in a case like this where you don't have a lot of.
And we may not ever know because they botched it from the beginning. All right. Love that main Rebel Princess, Alana Joyce Pink Pony Club. It's 8:03 here. All right. I'll check if there's an update, guys. Definitely let me know and we'll put it on. There has not been an update for days. Now, that's interesting that you heard a Bitcoin was paid because they're putting the word out there not to pay a dime, nobody to pay a dime. All right. Alana says it's 11:04 a.m. and you're in Australia. What's up? I love the people that are in the future. Be jealous because I thought only ghetto people are dysfunctional. Can educated people be jealous? Yeah, of course. I was actually going to call this inside the family, dysfunctional family dynamics, but I decided not to. All right. They're in the future.
Physical evidence here. They're depending now on the DNA evidence, and this is why it matters in a case like this. Now, here's where this case really gets complicated. We're not talking about clean DNA. We're talking about mixed DNA samples.
That needs to
We've been
come
hearing
apart.
a lot about this in the news and on these channels. You know, mixed DNA that could be coming from multiple people. And this means that there were multiple contributors to this, overlapping profiles, contamination possibilities. And that's where cases either get solved or they just fall apart. Because now the question becomes, who does the DNA belong to? Is it family, workers, or visitors, or is it the suspect? That's why investigators, they rely on something called elimination DNA.
All right, and we're going to talk about that. I love learning about DNA and the connections to it and how genetic genealogy works. I'm so for it. Now, I saw earlier that there was a camera out there. Somebody found like a trail cam in the beginning of this case, maybe a couple weeks in, and law enforcement has hold of it, which means what are we missing? What don't we know about? What haven't we seen? I don't get it. But also, did anybody hear about what happened to Savannah Guthrie today during the show? Were you guys watching the show? She was talking to Anne Hathaway on the show, and she was having a conversation. And when the commercial cut, she didn't return. Hoda returned. So people find it odd that she, or maybe something happened. So you guys are talking about a possible press conference, but Savannah was in the middle of an interview when they took a break and she cut out and never came back on today. So people are speculating that something happened and that she might know more about that. All right. So keep that in mind for today. That literally happened this morning today.
This is critical. Investigators, they must collect DNA from family members. They have to collect DNA from anyone that had access to this home. The workers, the landscapers, contractors in and out around this home. Why? I mean, you need to remove them from the equation. Only then does the unknown DNA start to stand out. But if that wasn't done early, now you've got a real big problem, because every additional person, it all adds noise to the data now. And noise creates doubt, and doubt, unfortunately, kills cases in court. Let's talk about something that most people ignore: the chain of custody. Very important in a criminal case.
All right. We don't really need to talk about the chain of custody. We know we need to get rid of nanos. That's not going to happen anytime soon. So the DNA that we need is the DNA that allegedly they collected. All right. And I hope that they're doing this case justice by getting it into the genetic genealogy stage. Saturday, 20 minutes outside, waiting to see if anyone noticed him at the door on the camera, then felt like it was okay. That's interesting, because where did he come from? Where do you think he came from? Let me show you this so you guys can take a look at this for yourselves tomorrow. All right. So this was Annie on the Today Show. Where did she go during this morning's episode of the Today Show? She introduced Anne Hathaway, and before the show cut to commercial, and when it returned, she was gone. Let me just show you real quick.
Girl right I am the luckiest girl right here. I've got Miss Anne Hathaway right here, Mother Mary herself. She has got a sneak peek at her new movie, and we have to put a little bit about Double Word Spotted 2, just a teeny tiny little bit. Okay, it's the year of Anne Hathaway, but first, this is today on NBC.
All right, now they're going to cut back.
And doing things in great prices. Full display in one of her very early roles, 2004's beloved Ella Enchanted.
All right, so Coda took over it. They do have a code word. There was a code word that if she needed to dip out, something got too hard, she got a weird phone call, that there would be a code word for Savannah to get off and let somebody else step in. So keep that in mind, all right? Okay, so is this going to happen at another time? Which one? What do you mean? Maybe Savannah needed a timeout. Yeah, it could, but people are talking about a possible press conference today. If that's the case, I wonder if there's some kind of update on something. And of course, we're not going to know until it's solved. But guys, you got to admit it is the right thing to do to keep Nancy Guthrie's name out there and not let this die down at this point right now. Now, of course, I'm not covering it every day. I think at this point, I've gone every other day, sometimes every 3 days, because I do feel like she needs the coverage. I do feel like these people that are offering to come out and help with DNA or to help with searches, why aren't they? I just can't get it. I can't fathom why they're not using those resources. Yeah, I don't know about the press conference. I actually did not hear about it, but I'm going to tell you, I'm looking at it behind the scenes, and if anyone else has it, please do send it over, because I'd love to see that. Let's do this real quick. I'm going to look for you guys. I'm going to look real quick, but I do want to show you some of this. It's much more interesting than the one I showed you. And there's a lot of stuff that's happening right now in this case that hasn't come out on the news yet. So I'm finding that in different little areas. Look at this real quick while I look for that. It's interesting. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We don't need to.
I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert. And today we're going to be building a profile of Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper. Before we get started, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is.
Yep, we know. We know.
With this individual with his head bent down, likely trying to avoid if there's any chance that there is a camera above this archway, because that would be a common place to put a security camera. And obviously, if you watch the way this person is walking, it seems clear to me that this is a male. Now, right there, they just caught that there is a Nest Cam. Now, the reason they didn't know this is because the Nest Cam looks unusual. That's part of the reason why I don't think that this is someone who has intimate familiarity with this house. I've heard people say, oh, it's somebody who knows it really well. I don't think so. That doesn't mean this.
See, and that's interesting that Dr. G's saying the complete opposite of what we think. Tomato and Annie's eyes look so much the same. I reckon it's possible that a lot is happening in the background undercover, and I feel like there's going to be me too, Alana, 110%. They are just not telling us. And you're welcome, Cat Granny. It's interesting because if you know about this case, it's not even close to being cold. And I love my mods, but one of my mods asked me today, what are you covering? And when I said Nancy Guthrie, she said, how? What do you have to talk about? There's nothing new. There's a lot to talk about. Every day there's a lot to talk about. Every other day, there's even more to talk about. So I'm going to stay on the case and keep you guys updated. You guys seen my follow through with many cases. I did a 10-part series with Lauren DeMolo and her father. We did the Madeline Soto case. We covered it the whole time. Golden Hen. Hi, Jay. Did you hear that there was a call at 1:44 a.m. to Nancy? FBI is holding it close to the vest. I think they know who it is. Gathering evidence with DNA and also, amen, Golden Hen. If that's the case and the truth, I really do hope so. I did not hear that. FBI has no obligation to tell us anything they're working on. And I was hoping that they were going through all of the phones. Annie, Tommaso, Cameron, Savannah, every single person that's close to this case, they should be going through electronics, video, audio, what have you. And the problem is, if you follow the money, it just goes right back to these people again. It goes full circle back to them when you follow the money. So I don't know what to think of that. And thank you so much, Golden Hen. I appreciate that for we'll call it a $10 super sticker. All right. I bring this back up. I'm trying to see if there's any press conferences or anything happening.
This person's never been to the house. They very well may have been there, but I don't think it's someone that knows the house well. So they're walking up and now they're trying to cover the camera. Most of us are familiar with the Ring doorbell cams. They're very square. They're very obvious. If you don't know the house that well, or if you've just cased it out, maybe you didn't get a close look at it, you might not have noticed this because it looks like a doorbell. Now, what's very obvious, I know everybody knows this at this point, but clearly this person is wearing gloves on top of other gloves. So these are nitrile gloves on top of probably what are leather gloves or nylon gloves or something like that. But clearly they are gloves on top of other gloves, which speaks to the size of this person. They talked about this individual being an average build, 5'9", 5'10", and I think that they are 5'9" or 5'10", but with a fairly slim build. I think this is someone with smaller hands and feet. The feet look fairly small. What's happening right now speaks to a lack of experience. Somebody
I don't see that it's a lack of experience. I see that he just casually rolled up, guys, and when he rolled up, the people in the back, he didn't know that they were already in the back and the back doors are open, because why wouldn't he just go around to those propped open doors? Now, Allie, I definitely shoot me an email to guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. I have not seen that case, but I'd be happy to cover it. All right. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that so much. Some pervert was stalking and chasing me at the mall, but I waited inside until he got caught. Good for you. And I'm glad that he got caught. All right. It looks like he's ringing it. I know, that's what I'm saying. His hand below is grabbing the knob, and he's kind of doing this. In my opinion, he's banging on that screen door. Now, Mama Pearl, you know you covered this case. Yeah, then I will do an update, Allie. If I did a case about it several weeks ago, if I did a thing, if I presented a case, I'm always gonna update it. Not always, but when there's major updates. So yes, I would be happy to. Still, shoot me an email. Yeah, look at that. Well, I want you to see that too, because I don't know. This hand looks like it's grabbing for the doorknob, and this one, Mama Pearl, when you go to my front door and you see that the black metal gated door, you really can't knock on it, right? It's kind of like hey, you hear the pound of it, and then it looked like he was going for the handle. I can't unsee it. Look at his hand down there.
that would have more experience here would have known more of what to do. This person's halfway covering the camera. You get a couple of glances at their face. We can very clearly see what this person looks like a couple of times. So this is not somebody who is used to doing this. This is not somebody who is a professional thief, at least not one in this way. They're not a professional burglar. And they were looking right into the camera. It looked like they were trying to pull it off or trying to figure out how to get it off. Obviously, it's not so simple. So instead, they've decided they're going to cover it up. So they're trying to cover it physically while they turn around, because they're really not able to think through this. I don't think they understand the point of view of a Nest Cam very well.
And I think the opposite of that. I just think that he's like, dude, you're an idiot. Open the door. All right. All right. This is ridiculous. Plants. Yes, plants. And they could have extracted DNA from those plants, but we don't know that they even did any of that. We have no idea. We have no idea when the doors opened. He could have opened it. But how did he get in, Clementine? How did he get in? He couldn't have gone through the front door. He would have had to break it, get the deadbolt, etc. So the only way he could have went through the front door is if someone opened it for him. We do know that the doors were propped open because Annie and Tommaso said so. Maybe they even did that. Yeah, it looks like he's grabbing it. All right, I sure wish Sebastian got this. He did. Sebastian got this much coverage when he first went missing. However, creators are fighting. There's creators that are suing each other over the Sebastian Rogers case. And so nobody wants to hop in and cover it because there's so much backlash from the community. Yes, DNA from the plants could have been extracted had they initially done it. I watched one of the experts on, it was a Nancy Grace show, talk about how you can get DNA from the plants, all right, from the plants. And remember, he had his bite light, so his spit went on the glove. The glove could have transferred to that. That's all I'm saying. And he has a backpack full of stuff. All right, so, I mean, you guys see where we're going with this. I got one more update for you, and then we'll move on.
And immediately you see they're turning around and looking on the ground. What can I grab immediately to cover this? You see they're leaning over because it's dark out. They're probably not able to see very well. So they're leaning over to see, is there anything here? What this speaks to is a lack of familiarity with his environment. This isn't.
Yeah, see, I'm not seeing that. I'm going to have to shut this one down, Dr. G, because it's just not, it's not jiving for me. I don't believe it. And maybe he's right. Maybe that twist will come out and it's just some random person that hated Nancy or Savannah, and it's not the family at all. But let's take a look at this. So I put in Nancy Guthrie press conference because I'm trying to look for any updates. Now, this came out 43 minutes ago, and like these are the people I follow. Criminal Network. I got to follow him. I didn't, but I'm following a lot of these people in the case. And in this one, I knew FBI was out there canvassing the area, but what are they doing and what are they looking for? Did FBI canvass the correct area and ask the correct questions? In the time, right? Was it a little too late because the sheriff made it difficult for FBI to be involved? And I agree. He botched the crap out of it. He didn't turn the DNA evidence to them. Instead, he gave it to his own people. All right. So FBI is out there, 43 minutes ago, what have you. And I wonder what they're doing, what they're looking for, what's going on. We just don't know. This has JLR's tag on it. But in one of these videos, I saw that there was a camera that was like right in this area, and it would have caught anybody or anything that was out there. All right. So press conference, here it goes. No, that was February 5th. Supposed to be 11. They haven't started letting us know. This didn't do anything. All it was word salad. All right. So there we go. There's no press conferences that I can see scheduled for anything right now, guys. And as far as this goes, if there's anything that comes up on the latest, but other than that, I think this is definitely the perfect crime thus far. This guy, John Rowdy, says the Guthrie family was paid off to create the ruse. Nancy's living in an undisclosed location. Savannah needs to be locked up. Say what? See, there's a lot of craziness. Should politicians interfere with criminal cases? Geez, man. Bitcoin guy claimed Nancy was alive in Mexico. Also claimed to pay half once the body was located. Some inconsistencies here. All right, good evening. Breaking down the updates. A ransom to Bitcoin guy was paid. What? He admitted in the emails that he never made it to Mexico, but was alive 1 to 2 days. Bitcoin guy was an eavesdropper per Bitcoin guy. What? The main suspect kidnapper's initials are JHRG. Throwing this in for an I told you so moment. Recap. We know this shit. Crowd. Here's your new details. Ransom paid. Information points away from Mexico. Unlikely dudes connected. The FBI has a person of interest. Stay gold. All right. Well, that just shows you some of the odd updates that are out there that I don't even know what that means at this point. So on that note, we want justice for Nancy Guthrie. Thank you guys for being here today. We're going to keep her name out there and continue to cover this until well, there's nothing else to cover. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, right? And I'm not going to cover a case that has nothing to cover. But I assure you, if you are following this case, there's a lot to cover. All right. Been a cover up from a lot of people say cover up, but from what? He didn't mess up. He knew exactly. I agree. He's not going to take her out of the back. She can't walk, but it went in the front. She thought it was her last chance to fight. That's what I thought too. And the fact that they said, she's out of your league. Joseph says, leave Annie alone. She's out of your league. Well, okay, sir. I'm not trying to bother Annie. We're simply looking at Annie and saying this is her. But yes, people should not interfere. You guys shouldn't. There's 333 people in here. Say a prayer that Nancy gets brought home. I don't know what the she's out of your league things, but I do hope that it's not the family. All right. And let me see what else. Golden Hen says at 1:44 a.m. mystery 911 call. A 911 call was reportedly made at 1:44 a.m. on the night of Nancy's kidnapping in her Tucson home. 1:47 a.m. camera disconnect. Just minutes later, 1:47 a.m. masked man on the porch. Does anyone know about that? Is there a 911 call that we can refer to? That's what I want to know. Barbie says, as I am a blood splatter expert, she wasn't walking and making those drops. I promise you. And I agree. I don't think she was either. I think she was already getting sassy with them and didn't want to go with them in the house. And they already did what they were going to do. Not to say that she wasn't alive, but does anyone have that? Or are we just, Golden Hen, are you saying that the mystery call is just something that you've seen logged? Or is it something that you've heard? Because I can't understand what you mean. I know Annie's at your league. No one can understand her. She's out of all of our league, right? I think he was only in the house 15 minutes. Okay, so Golden, where did the phone call come from? I'd love to know and I'd love to play it. I just never heard that either. I mean, let me take a look at probably the best that I have. 911 call at, what time did you say? 1:40 something in the morning, in the AM. Nancy Guthrie. But I wonder, did it come from her house? What is that? 911 call. All right. So there's a confirmed breakdown of 1:40 to 1:44 a.m. And then the 911 call connected to Nancy Guthrie disappearance based strictly on what publicly is documented. Key fact here, there is no confirmed 1:40 or 1:40 anything AM 911 call. No official source has reported that call to 911 on that morning. However, there are two critical calls in that same early morning window. A phone call to Nancy Guthrie's phone. Oh, so they called to Nancy Guthrie's phone at 1:44 a.m. And then a 911 call about a screaming woman between 3 and 3:01. I didn't know that. Did you guys just learn that? 1:44 a.m. the phone call to Nancy Guthrie. All right, a YouTube documented investigative breakdown reports that at 1:44 a.m. someone called Nancy Guthrie's phones, guys. 3 minutes later, her doorbell camera went dark. The video claims that FBI has known who made the call since day one. Now, it's not a 911 call that's directly from Nancy's phone. It's a phone call to Nancy's phone at 1:44 a.m. Then at 3:01 a.m., I did hear about a screaming woman calling 911. All right, a witness reported a female hanging out of a dark gray or blue Chevy Malibu, screaming with doors open. Location, Oracle River Road, about 3.5 miles from Nancy's house. Time, 3:01 a.m. All right, no additional information on that, but good looking out on that. Someone called Nancy's phone at 1:44. 3 minutes later, her doorbell rang. 2:30, Nancy's pacemaker stopped connecting, and at 3:01, a 911 call with a screaming woman in a Chevy Malibu. Wow, that's a lot. We just learned something new. I did hear about that, but who in the hell called Nancy Guthrie's phone at 1:44 in the morning? All right. Again, this is just speculation. Tucson girl, is it a legit YouTube channel reporting the call? We don't know until FBI says. Now, listen, Sheriff Nanos isn't going to tell us, and I'm not going to cite a source because it just says YouTube channel reported of a phone call calling it. So I'm going to wait until FBI comes out with, or somebody comes out with a timeline, or we know more. I'm not going to take this as gold, but it's good looking out. Good looking out, Golden Hen. I believe the neighbor they checked out was involved. There was a couple dispute. Yeah, but so who called 911? Or, I'm sorry, who called Nancy at 1:44 in the morning? Was that a phone call to see if she would answer? Is that a phone call to, you know what I'm saying? If that phone call did happen, then I'm absolutely sure FBI is all over that and they know who called by now. Malibu Blue, yeah, I don't know about that, but I want to know who called Nancy. I know, what the heck? Nobody said that in the beginning. Exactly. Sue Ellen is the busybody in Nancy's neighborhood. She argues with YouTubers and wants them all out of there, right? And it's making news. 333 in chat again. Say a prayer that Nancy Guthrie is brought home. Maybe that was the phone call to try. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they pre-did that to call and wake her up. Rebel Princess is a booty call. Hey, if she wasn't 84, I might say yeah. Thank you, though, Golden Hen, for that information. Rachel says, wait, what if it was her secret lover? Maybe to distract her. Lauren had a camera put up. So Nancy only charged devices at home. I have no idea. And thank you. Allegedly, guys. Allegedly. FBI is letting that comfortable. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. All right, guys. So, we could go on all day about this, and I don't want to do that because I want to stick to the facts and then, of course, speculation. That's all we have. But I think so, Kelly. I'm absolutely thinking that FBI is letting whoever them are get comfortable as they watch, as they pull phone records, as they connect cameras, as they get more footage. They're watching. All right. They're watching. Why is it black? Why is what black? What? They're gauging her awareness and hearing. Right. I think so. It could have been a distraction into that. You know how many I heard? Ring, ring, hearing aids. All right, Cool and Chris. Much love to you and everybody else that was here today to support the channel. We need to bring Nancy home. Whether you believe that any of these people are connected to what happened or not, it still exists. And this did happen. All of this happened, and all the connections are to those two people. This also happened, and you can see those eyes of him covering his face. Now, this happened several times. And when they saw Tommaso walking the other day, he walked much different than he did with the flower. That guy had a swag. He was walking like he was, king of the jungle, running the show. He looked very confident. You can't deny that. And then this is hard for me to unsee as well. Again, this is the guy that confessed. Is he a liar just trying to get attention? Maybe. Maybe not, though. You never know. Richard Allen did go right into the police department and tell them that he was at the park that day in Delphi, when the Delphi girls, Abby and Libby, were murdered. Richard Allen went to law enforcement and told them he was there that day. They didn't arrest him until 7 years later. Wait, did the guy in chat propose? No, he didn't propose. What happened? Where'd you go, buddy? Just speculating. Yep. Thank you, Kel. I appreciate that. Where did Harris go? Harris O'Rourke. Did you, I guess there's no, I guess we're not having a night of love, right? There he is. Jay. She said, yes, we got engaged on your show. Best day ever. Well, you know what? Let me take that off so that we're all clear with the happy, lovey background, the cute, the hearts and the colorful. Congratulations, Harris O'Rourke. I hope that we get to see you in Vegas. I'm so very happy for you. And you know what? That's awesome. I love people that love each other. So on that note, Harris, that's awesome. Congratulations. Be kind to your woman. Be nice to your woman and be exactly how you are now, even after marriage. That's the secret to success, my guy. I'm coming up on 21 years with my wife. 21 years with my wife, 19 or 18 years married. And I got to tell you, just keep on growing, keep on changing with them, and pray and hope and be kind. Congratulations, Harris. Football Mom, thank you for coming here. Thank you. Please hit the notifications. I'm glad you found our channel too. Thank you so much. It means a lot. J Mod's crew, I've been listening. Aw, well, prayers for you, Bree. Krista. Yes, congratulations, Harris O'Rourke. He he told us earlier on that if his girl came by, he was going to propose to her while we were on the show. Yes, everybody's congratulating you. We're very happy for you. We love it. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I love this room. It's like playing a board game of Who Done It, aka Who Done It. Live with Jay. All right. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm in Cali, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. And go sub up to all the great channels, Mab, Flojo TV, my girl Kathy, True Crime, but it's like 67. And I always get tripped up by her channel because it has a 67 at the end of it. You guys know the drill. Go hook up our girl Kathy and all of our friends. Let creators boost other creators and have a stronger community. All right, Midnight Lace and everybody else, boost each other up. All right, tell somebody that you like their shirt. Make somebody smile for no reason, just to make their day. All right, I love you guys, and I'll see you mañana, aka tomorrow. Love you guys. All right, bye. Congratulations again, Harris. Bye, Tucson girl. Good night, Sales Hound. K-Love. I really love that name. All right, guys, I'm out of here. See you tomorrow. Good night, Mama Sage.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?